On the Brooklyn Bridge tonight, voices strong, knowledge tight, thorough black talk in the air, changing minds, changing flair. From Brother Tad to Sister K, warriors got things to say. Sister Marcia brings the heat, Brother Blacksmith keeps the beat. Revolutionary waves they fly underneath the open sky. Every word's a call to fight. Tune in, feel the ancestral line. Thursday nights, the world will see Black Power Media on the screen. Facebook, YouTube, all aligned, breaking free from every bind. Social talk and politics, every voice breaks through the matrix. Commentary raw and true, for the many, not the few. Revolutionary waves they fly underneath the open sky. Every word's a call to fight. Tune in, feel the ancestral line. Ancestral line.
Standing strong on the bridge tonight. We got dreams and we got fight. Voices loud in the city's light. Change is coming into sight. History told by scars and pain. Echoes deep in every name. Legal truths we must reclaim. Through the storm and through the rain. Thorough black talk review. With Brother Tad, Sister K, Sister Marcia, Brother Blacksmith. Cut the check or no vote, yeah. Justice calls from open skies. Tears that fall, ain't no disguise. Marching forward, no surprise. Strength in hearts you can't downsize. Every voice a sweet refrain. In this fight we share the strain. Through the joy and through the pain, bound together like a chain. Thorough black talk review. With Brother Tad, Sister K, Sister Marcia, Brother Blacksmith. Cut the check or no vote, yeah.
Good evening, good evening, good evening, family. Welcome to another edition of Thorough Black Talk with your Sister K Fighter, Brother Tad, Sister Marcia, and Brother Blacksmith will be joining us shortly. We got a power pack show tonight, family. We got a power pack show. We got our brother Devon coming in later, our sister Brooke, and Brother Sage. We got a lot to discuss. A lot has happened since the last week, since we were all together. But we're going to get my brother Blacksmith up on the Brooklyn Bridge first. Welcome to Bronx up on the BK Bridge. Let's go. Brother Blacksmith, what's happening? What's happening? What's happening?
Good evening, Sister Keisha. How are you today?
Good, brother. Good, brother. Waiting for the rest of the team to get in.
Hear me clearly?
I got you loud and clear, brother. Waiting for the rest of the team to get in here as they do what they do behind the scenes. But I know last week we left with a cliffhanger with you. So I thought it's best that we start with you this week, being that we left with that cliffhanger, brother. So tell us what it is. What have you found out? What have you investigated? Lay it down for our folks. Let's go, Brother Black. It's on you.
Okay. I've been looking into it since Tad asked me last week. I looked more into the 3AI and all that. I've been talking about the another thing I talked about some months ago, and it's now seemed like it's coming to ahead is the Cascadian subduction zone out there in Northern California, Oregon border, but about 300 miles off the coast. It seems like it's sliding in now. So they should look for tsunamis and all kind of earthquakes and landslides and things like that. It's just crazy right now. I didn't see anybody talk about the how Virginia Beach got washed out about 2 weeks ago, like how New York and Chicago did earlier in the summertime. So those are still happening. It happened in Chattanooga as well, maybe in late July. It's just all kind of seismic things happening. There's also a subduction zone in the Atlantic. And
Now,
from
before
what
you
I
go
understand,
further, brother, tell the people what that is, because they might not know what that is, brother. Let them know.
Okay, what a subduction zone is picture like a sinkhole, but underneath the ocean because of the shifting of the tectonic plates. So it causes like a sinkage to happen. Like we know, they have been saying since time immemorial that some lands are supposed to resurface, like Atlantis, and some are supposed to go under the water. So that's basically what it means, but not on the land or near the shore, out in the ocean somewhere. So it could cause tsunamis. It's because of the plate shifting and because of the solar flares that's hitting the earth that's causing all these things to happen. So when I talk about those things, it's all coming full circle as we speak, because I've been talking about these things even before I started coming on the show. So that's what's happening with that. But more in particular, with what Tad asked me before we signed off last week, as far as the 3AI, to me, it's a code. It might stand for the A begins with Anunnaki and the I ends with Anunnaki. So could it be that? I don't know. But we know it's a spaceship. They saying it's bigger than the island of Manhattan. So everything is always related to New York for whatever reason or not. And that it's supposed to touch. They said a few months ago, or maybe in August sometime, they said it was going to be 2 weeks. Then they said it was November. Then they said it was October. Now it seems like every date is predicting November, early November. We just had another eclipse a few days ago, even though we didn't see it on this side of the earth. So we still under the energy of that. With the 3AI, what I believe is happening, wherever it's coming from, there was a congresswoman a few weeks ago who was prominently talking about alien activity, and her name was Luna. I don't remember where she's from. And then a few days later after that, another congressman, I don't remember where he's from. I think Burkhardt, if I'm not mistaken, something like that. He said that the aliens ain't coming nowhere, that they're here in underwater, deep underwater bases, under the water, not under the land or in a garth or any of that, underwater. So whatever's happening out there, whatever's happening, they're soft disclosing us so that we prepared for whatever's going to happen. In my browsing of the internet and looking for the information that I can bring you guys, when we come on the bridge, I'm seeing that most of the prominent influencers or bloggers or vloggers or whatever you call them, the people that are so interested in this stuff are all saying that we're going to have an extinction level event soon. There are people still talking about more pandemics coming. It's interesting. Let me tell you something, not totally related, but kind of related. I went to the supermarket today, and so when I was, looking for my stuff or what have you, there was another guy right next to me, and he sees me, and he tells me, if you get a COVID and a flu shot together, they're now together. So if you're getting flu shots out there, know you're also getting that COVID and the COVID shot as well, whether they tell you or not. He said if you get a COVID and a flu shot together, they'll take $20 off of your bill. And I'm like, yeah, okay, thank you. And I'm gonna go check on it. And I'm looking at this dude like, people. I don't believe people still talking about this stuff. Then when I went to the cash register, you know, I was talking to the cashier, and she was telling me she wasn't feeling well because she just took a flu shot. So I'm like, man, some of these people ain't getting it. It's still 3 years after the pandemic has been exposed as a hoax, and people still doing this dumb shit. I don't understand it one bit. So, okay, with that said, know that the chemtrails is activating against your whatever nanobots, nanoparticles that's in your body. With the sun changing and all these other things different now in this day and age, you know, don't kiss your life goodbye. We at the end, and y'all got to just hang on, because remember, we got a solar flash that's supposed to zap us into the fifth dimension and into what they call pH balance or perfect health. So
I don't know, but I hope so, because you know it's a lot going on. So, but whatever, you know, I have a critical mind, and so you know, a critical and analytical mind.
Right.
It could be a gift and a curse, but you know, me personally, we've been waiting too long and whoever it may be that some people say are in our favor, your ass is too slow. And just like the Africans, I'm on your ass too. But let me get my brother Tad up on the Brooklyn Bridge. What's happening?
He should be on the intergalactic level.
There you go, brother. For sure. Let me get the OG Wisdom Podcast, Brother Tad, up on the Brooklyn Bridge. What's happening? The sty in the building.
You already know. Peace. Can you hear me clearly? Nanu, brother. Shots back. Thank you very much. What's going on, brother Anunnaki? Sister K Fighter.
Rocking and rolling. Let me get my sister Marcia, Africans on.
Did you hear my little spill?
Up on the Brooklyn Bridge. Sister Marcia, what it is.
Happy Black Toxic Thursday, everyone. Good to see you, Sister Keisha, Brother Black, Brother Tad. Good to see everyone on the line.
Peace, wing, yeah.
Here you go. You got to behave tonight, Brother Black. We got guests.
Yeah.
No, your best behavior. Act like you don't know nothing about the Bronx, okay?
Well, I want to respond to what Brother Black was saying, you know, on how they talk about these intergalactic ships being the size of Manhattan, always comparing something to New York. That's because New York City is the Empire State, as we know, and Brooklyn is the capital. So fact of the matter is Brooklyn's the capital of the world, so respect our handle. That's all I want to say. Put that out there.
Oh, yeah. but with that logic, if you play in chess, then Queens run the board.
That's all right. That's all right. But Brooklyn is the county of kings. You can capture the queen, the game still goes on. The game don't stop until the king is out.
My queen is in Zynga, so she ruling shit.
Check and mate.
Habari Ghani.
Check and mate.
Who he playing with, sis, right?
You better not. Let me get some shout outs real quick.
And somebody said Bronx is the blueprint, though.
Oh my God.
Black brought some backup today.
Oh my God.
Black brought some backup today. Okay. He ain't the only one from the Bronx. Look, sis, we still gonna let you stay, BX. Even though you from the Bronx, we ain't gonna hold that against you.
For real. Shout out to Sister Joyce, Brother Monty, Suffolk County on the check-in. What's happening? Sister Farnessa, Alabama, in here. What's good? Our brother Rich Nice, Cali in the building. What's happening? Uncle Jeff's, Aunt Marie, Brownsville finest, up on the check-in. Is that BX the gatekeeper? Stop playing, stop playing, stop playing. We in here heavy. Don't get souped, Black.
And she beautiful.
Don't get souped, Black. See? Don't get souped. Sister Donna, Brother Kerwin, Alabama, what it is. Little Debbie Phoenix on the check-in. Boy, I'm telling you, y'all in here heavy. Y'all in here
for a treat
heavy
tonight.
You know what I'm saying? The Bay Area, we got Phoenix, Miss Alabama. Stop playing. We're going to be nice with the Bronx. We're going to be nice. V4 Vengeance. What's happening? Welcome to Thorough Black Talk Worldview. Man. Sister Marcia, we had a crazy week, boy. Since the last time we was here. We had a crazy week. But I'm gonna chill.
Tell me all about it. No, don't chill. Tell me.
Mississippi. Stop playing. Sister Brooke, she gonna be in here in a minute. Brother Divine and Brother Sage will be joining us a little later. But last week, you know, it was mentioned about this Ujamaa hosted diaspora space, if you will. But it didn't come off well. And I said, if y'all remember, I ain't going.
She ain't
There's
going.
gonna be some clout chasing mess that's happening over there. But you know, I was right. As always, because I know how the Pan-African community works. You always late to the game, and now you want to clout chase. But we're going to save that for my sister Brooke and Brother Divine to get in here. But I want y'all, because, you know, this wasn't on the left, community discussion. This is hosted by the Pan-African community of the Caribbean diaspora. I think you had Guyanese up in there. You had Barbados. I don't know. You had Kenya up on the panel. It was crazy. You know, it got so disrespectful that there was an FBA sister who we didn't know. As a matter of fact, we just met her at that event, and she was so disturbed that she got up and walked out. And our sister Brooke went after her to bring her back. But it was pretty much what I expected. And just before we get started, because I'm not playing with people, before we get started, I just want everybody to know that you had a panel of, let me see, 4 people. Not one full FBA person on the damn panel. Not one. And before, because I'm trying to save this for our sister Brooke and Brother Divine to get in here, because I don't want y'all to think that me and Brother Tad, you know, just saying stuff. Okay? But first of all, I had planned to go by myself. I didn't know that the crew was going to be in the building. But like I said, the ancestors, our direct ancestors, are always right on time. And so when I got there, before we got there, rather, Sister Brooke said, I'm going. Brother Divine gonna meet us there. I'm like, all right, let's do it. And then Brother Tad texted and said he was on the way. And, you know, things went crazy. But crazy in a way, it wasn't our doing. Let me just put it that way. It was not our doing. Okay? So I want everybody to know that. Again, shout out to K Rush 409, Philly on the check-in, what's happening. But it wasn't our doing. And so before we get started, because we also had you know, our You know, they say African American Day Parade, but we changed that to the Foundational Black American Day Parade. I was happy to see so many rocking the right flags up there. As a matter of fact, I'm gonna play this video so y'all can see, because you know, I wasn't expected to walk in the parade, but of course, you know, the U.S. Freedmen's Project, they made the call and we walked up in there. And so also what I was glad to see is that there were people who saw the videos that many people have posted of the thousands who were out there. Those who didn't attend are eager to attend next year. Was happy with what they were seeing, with us displaying the proper flags. And so, you know, that's what happened. And so my brother Tad, brother C Gutter, the OG Wisdom Podcast was streaming live as well. And please check them out. I'm going to play a few clips from their video a little later as well. What I can say, family, there were no shootings. There was no fights. There was no beating up of old people. No children got stamped on. The ratchetness ain't there. You ain't see nobody in our parade gyrating on white tee police.
Or anybody for that matter.
Anybody for that matter. As a matter of fact, you had a couple who were marching in there from the Caribbean community who tried it. And they got booed and shut down. Because that's not what we about. And you know, when I see other people's parades, whether it's the Puerto Rican Day Parade, Dominican Day Parade, I don't disrespect in any way. But when you enter our parade and you marching with your Latino self, playing your Babalooey music, that's disrespectful. That's disrespectful. Black Americans have a full catalog, no matter the genre of music you could have played. And so you got booed too. But then you had I think you had 2 Caribbean floats, if I'm not mistaken. They had the red, black, and green flag, which I get it. But then you playing that music. That's not the parade for that. You already had the West Indian Day Parade. I don't want to hear that. Because we got full catalogs. And the same kind of leeway, I should say, is not given when we are around or walk within your parade. I showed a video, I believe, a couple of weeks ago where a sister said, you know, she came from out of town to attend the West Indian Day Parade and had her American flag, and she almost got her head busted. But it's okay for everybody else to do it with us. But shout out to the U.S. Freedmen's Project.
Yeah.
We're going to play this video right here. Why? Because I own the music and they can't stop it. Okay? All right. Let's play this and we'll come right back and we'll discuss.
On the Brooklyn Bridge tonight, voices strong, knowledge tight. Thorough black talk in the air, changing minds, changing flair.
Brother Tad to Sister K, warriors got things to say. Sister Marcy brings the heat, Brother Blacksmith keeps the beat.
Brooklyn, let's go! Queen Phoenix, we see ya. Revolutionary waves, they fly. Underneath the open sky, every word's a call to fight. Tune in, feel the ancestral light.
Thursday night, so world will see Black Power media on the spree. Facebook, YouTube, all aligned, breaking free from everybody.
Social talk and politics, every voice breaks through the matrix. Commentary, raw and true, for the many, not the few. Revolutionary waves, they fly underneath the open sky. Every word's a call to fight. Tune in, feel the ancestral light.
Tad to Sister K, warriors got things to say. Sister Marcia brings the heat, Brother Blacksmith keeps the beat. Brooklyn, let's go! Phoenix, we see ya. Revolutionary waves they fly. Underneath the open sky, every word's a call to fight. Tune in, feel the ancestral light. Thursday nights, the world will see Black Power media on a spree. Facebook, YouTube, all aligned, breaking free from everybody. Social talk and politics, every voice breaks through the matrix. Commentary, raw and true, for the many, not the few. Revolutionary waves, they fly underneath the open sky. Every word's a call to fight. Tune in, feel the ancestral light.
Yeah.
Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. Yes, 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 yes. And we got to meet too a lot of people that we converse with online. You'll be surprised how many people recognize you by voice. And so shout out to everybody we met out there. FBA Business, BX the Gatekeeper, our sister Net out of Florida. So many others. Yeah, Brother Ray was there. I was telling him, Tad, we was right.
we saw you, Brother Ray. We saw you out there too. I guess you couldn't hear us shouting your name. We was right on 125th.
Yep.
Right on 125th on the southeast corner.
Yep. And I was letting him know that we were trying to get his attention, but of course, with all of the fanfare and stuff that we weren't able to get up with him. But just so y'all know what time it was, I'm going to bring up this clip from the OG Wisdom podcast this Sunday as well, because Brother Tad was streaming live and he got a chance to interview some folks, which was very, very interesting. And also Sister Brooke and myself was talking to an elder who actually came up from North Carolina. So let me play this clip and then we'll come right back and we'll bring Sister Brooke and Brother Divine up on the Brooklyn Bridge. Here we go, family. Let's go.
If you can hear me, put a 1 in the chat. I need y'all assistance with this one right now. You're looking out, Brother Rich Nice. Do I sound clear? Let me message this camera a little bit, because we're definitely going to talk about the deletion of our young brother Trey Reed. But I thought this was very fitting to celebrate our resilience and have our sister Kay Fighter come in here and talk about the 100 years of lynching, which she has done numerous presentations on that topic alone. So we know Trey Reed is not the first. It happened down in Mississippi, which we all know our brother C. Gutters from. So he's going to be giving his perspective on the culture and tradition of what goes on in Mississippi. But today is September 21st, 2025, and we out here celebrating our resilience as Black people in America, that regardless of what has been on, no matter what they charge us to delete us, we've been resilient. So y'all check out the folks. Check out the Black family outside. Oh man, and they had some floats that was lit. We missed some good joints. I'm quite sure some more is coming through. And if y'all want to meet us out here, we out at the Adam Clayton Powell office building. Many people may not know who Adam Clayton Powell was, but he was a pro-Black politician who really fought for our folks. And if I'm not mistaken, he was a congressman. But as I wait for my brothers and sisters to pull up, because we're going to have a powerful show today. We got our brother Divine coming through. We got our sister Brooke coming through. Of course, Sister K Fighter, my brother got in this family, and a new addition to the family, a brother named Sage. Just the other night, we went to a Pan-African / FBA conversation where we're supposed to get along and hash out our differences. However, a lot of statements was made, a lot of things were misconstrued, and I was glad we were there to set the record straight. Yes, since I'm trying to send you one of the videos, but you know, the videos are so large from Friday. You know, I got tons of footage. You know, I'm gonna see if I can send it to you. Can't hear you, sis.
Oh yes. See if you could break that up in two, maybe, to send it. But I'm glad the OG Wisdom Podcast was there to stream live, record live of what took place on Friday. So y'all don't say we went out there starting trouble. We went out there humble. But they was, man, listen, and let me tell you something. Before I'm about to bring Sister Brooke on and Brother Divine, but you know who you are, who was there on Friday. Don't talk under your breath, sucker. Say whatever you got to say to me. You see me out there. The next time you see me, I'm going to address the situation. But I'm not going to give no names because I don't move like that. But I will see you, and I'm going to address the situation. Don't you ever in your mother effing life mumble under your breath about anything that I do or say. That anything that Thorough Black Talk crew do or say. And I'm going to pull up on you, and it ain't going to be nice. You know, you better pray that Brother Tad is in the building when I do pull up on you, or Brother Sage.
Right, because I still did, right, because I still didn't hear what was said. Me and Brother Divine didn't get a chance to really politic about that, you know. But it's going to be interesting to hear what was said. I think and when Brother Divine and Sister Brooke come in here, I think I want them definitely to touch on this, but I think from the offset, we knew what the tempo was going to be because they showed a video trying to say that FBA is a CIA operation. And
don't tell it. Let me get Sister Brooke. Brooke, you ready? You ready? She giving me the thumbs up. Our sister from another mister, Sister Brooke up on the Brooklyn Bridge. What's happening?
What up,
What's going on? Yo, what up? Can you hear me? Am I good? Am I good?
You Gucci.
Okay.
You loud and clear. Let me get my brother, our Brother Divine, president of the U.S. Freedmen's Project, up on the Brooklyn Bridge. Because I don't want no stuff. Brother Divine, welcome to Thorough Black Talk. How you doing, brother? What's happening?
I'm good. BK all day. Can I be heard?
Yeah. Yes, sir. Loud and clear.
There it is. We on the bridge.
So we on the bridge tonight. It's about to get thick and it's about to get heavy.
Yeah, I think this one going to overtime tonight. I don't know.
Let's do it. Let's do it because we got a lot.
I get my paper to write notes.
She came with the notes. And so, you know, and shout out to our sister Aruba 927. Yeah. And again, shout out to BX the gatekeeper. He said, yeah, that's how I recognize you by voice. And another brother, Shane, who also recognized me by voice. Another brother named Devin. He recognized me by voice. So shout out to all of y'all. And please follow BX the gatekeeper on TikTok, on X, and now she's starting her YouTube channel. You don't want to miss it. She mods for a lot of heavy hitters. But anyway, as Brother Tad said, and I'm gonna let Brother Tad get back into it. How did the evening start off, Brother Tad? Because I mentioned that they had a panel of 4 people, 3 guys and a female. None of them full FBA, not a one. But and one person, well, never mind. Go ahead, Brother Tad.
Yeah, we're gonna have time to get to that. Shout out to Sister Aruba 927. Yeah, I knew it was going to be some foolishness when they opened the discussion with the video clip of a Caribbean man citing what's supposed to be a CIA operative order. I can't get it together right now, but when they said that FBA is a construct of a CIA operation, I knew it was some bullshit. I'm gonna just keep it 100, just on the strength that they opened it up with Caribbeans talking about FBA. See, you can't have a conversation about me without me, and I saw that on the panel as well. But then when they open it up, you're opening up the platform to set the notion that we're already in the wrong position. And that's why when I spoke at the beginning, I said, first of all, we gonna have honest conversation, and you can't open this up with dialogue of assumptions, because you assume we don't know our history and our story, because in the video, that's what it was pretty much saying. But we clear on who we are and what our position is. And that's why I said, it's disingenuous. Even the whole conversation, the whole night, because rather than ask questions, they were in the positions of assumption that if we don't agree with them, we're just wrong. And as the night went on, they just showed their level of ignorance. As I was telling Brother Divine after we left, I said, I didn't speak much because I'm used to those conversations. Those are nigga conversations, the ones we used to have on the corner. After dudes been smoking and drinking a whole bunch of talk about a whole bunch of nothing. I've seen those conversations hanging out in Bed-Stuy where dudes are getting big arguments and come to blows over who's a better sports team, who's a better rapper, Jay-Z or Nas, like that foolishness. And that's what I saw in there. And as opposed to ask us questions to get clarity, they just made assumptions that we don't know who we are. We don't know what we're talking about. Though people were proudly saying where they were from. They're from Haiti, they're from Guyana, but we can't be from America. See, that was the problem in itself. And you see everybody got silent when I said, who knows what delineation means? Who knows what the word delineate means? Nobody did. But what did one elder do? He lied and said, it means you're separating from Africa. I said, see, elder, you're not being honest. That's not what it means. But if people are going to spew that rhetoric, and that's what that panel was all about, reinforcing the rhetoric, because they know their ideas are dying. It's not proven to work nowhere, not even on the continent. And with that, I'm past the mic.
And another thing too that rubbed me the wrong way when we got there, as opposed to talking with us, they talked at us.
Yes.
And like you said, insinuating we had no idea of who we are at all. Brother Ray said, I don't know why you went, because somebody had to represent the team.
There you go.
Because when these things get recorded and sent out into the universe, it'll look like, we
there was no resistance. Right. And you know what, Sister Keisha, not to cut you off real quick, that was our ancestors, Brother Ray. Because remember, last week, Sister Keisha said she not going. I wasn't sure if I was going to go, but I was leaning towards going. And I was glad Brother Divine said, Brother Tad, you going? Let me know. I'm pulling up too, sister. And it was a good thing we went. That sister would have been there by herself. The sister who got frustrated and was about to walk out, she would have been there by herself, outnumbered, outgunned. And she would have been the punching bag. But we built for it. But go ahead, sis.
Not to mention, if this is a space where Black people are supposed to come to unity and hash out differences, why you got white tea folks up in the place? Which is typical of those folks. You can't make a move without white tees in the building.
Who invited the white girls?
Yeah, the sodomite white girls.
I got them on.
Dr. Sukiyana did.
Probably.
Who invited the snow bunnies to the Pan-African panel?
So we're gonna let our guests tell y'all from their perspective, what went down. Sister Brooke, your perspective, and then we'll follow up with our Brother Divine.
I'm so glad, Brother Tad. First of all, thank you so much for bringing me here today. And hello, Sister Marcia, and hello, Brother Black. Hello, Brother Tad. Hello, Sister Keisha.
Peace.
Hello,
Peace.
President Divine. Okay. So when you said that her name was Jasmine, that Miss Jasmine would have been there by herself, that really touched me. I went because that's my hood.
Holla.
I grew up over there. And so you're not going to have a conversation in my hood, in my back. I may not live there anymore, but that's where I grew up. And so it's the same, close to the same area as the nail shop. You know what I'm saying? Like that is the area in which I grew up. So they was not going to have a conversation in my hood because I thought it was going to be somewhere else. When you initially sent it to me, I didn't realize the address. And when I looked it up, I said, oh, I have to go. I must go. I'm a part of the community. Now I'm FBA, but I'm a part of the community. The community also produced me. So I wanted to pull up. I wanted to talk about what they wanted to talk about. And I'm already knowing the demographics of the community. So I'm already knowing who's going to be there if it ain't me. Because I know who I went to school with. I was the only one. I grew up not knowing any FBA that weren't related to me.
Right.
So I'm already knowing who's going to be in the room. I was not shocked. I was shocked they had a teensy bit of FBA. I thought the conversation was going to be completely void of our voice, which is why I wanted to be there. So, so that's why I went. And then, when I, started like, okay, are you going to go? Like, somebody going to come with me? You know what I mean? And I'm so happy that, like, man, we came in there strong. They wasn't expecting it. I feel like they started late because they had to reprogram the whole. They didn't know what to do. They knew it was a storm about to happen. They knew we came in there as the quiet storm. They knew we wasn't going to allow that nonsense. They still tried it, but we shut it down right from the beginning. So, I'm thankful that we got to represent strong in my hood. And I appreciate y'all coming, out to my neck of the woods and let people see, I am not alone.
What neck of the woods is that?
East Flatbush. Mm-hmm.
Around the 90s? Around the 90s?
90s is the 90s. That's not technically part of East Flatbush, but it is not far. You know what I mean? We're like a hop, skip, and a jump. You know what I mean?
What's that, like Crown Heights?
Yeah. The 90s is going closer over to like East New York side. You know what I mean?
Because that was on Utica, right?
Huh?
That was Utica, right? The address.
Yes.
Yes, Utica.
So
yes.
That was
on Kings Highway is on Kings Highway and Surf.
No,
right?
Sorry, I say East New York. I meant Brownsville.
Black in this foolishness.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Kings Highway and Surf.
But you mentioned
that was on Utica, close by Empire, a couple blocks from Empire.
Right. You mentioned the Sister Jasmine.
Yes.
Who we didn't know until we got there. We met her.
Right.
After she got teed off.
She was frustrated early. I'm glad you went and got a sister, bro.
Yes, that's what I was about to say.
I was mad that I didn't see, she was behind me, so I didn't see her leave. And when I turned around, I was like, where Shorty do I go? And I was like, oh, I'm out the door. I had to go chase her down. You know what I mean? Because she was family, and you know what I'm saying. I didn't want to see her leave. I was like, just don't worry, girl. We got this.
Mm-hmm.
Just wait. I want to, mic, baby. You gonna be all right.
I want to thank y'all for being the best representatives of FBA. I need to
Thank you.
thank you. You don't know how.
Thank you.
That is a thankless job right now. So
Like the
I'm
kids
gonna let
be
y'all have it.
saying, "Black."
But you know what it is, Black? What it is, and it was similar to straight Black pride. You know, people are going to resist what's a new idea, a new thought, which is actually old, because we are straight Black and proud people. You know what I'm saying? Those of us who don't gauge and that. So we just put a name to it. That's it, because we see that people were getting lost in the liberal rhetoric. So with us being foundational Black Americans, and like I keep telling people, don't put it on Tariq Nasheed. This has been, if you know Black American history, this has been a conversation that's been going on for centuries during our enslavement. After the Emancipation Proclamation, this conversation didn't start with Tariq Nasheed. Look at Dr. Claude Anderson. And Tariq Nasheed would always give it to Dr. Claude Anderson. He'll say, this is not my idea, and I'm not the leader. This is based on lineage and bloodline. And see, back in the days, we didn't have to delineate, because we accepted all Black people and thought those that were coming was on our side. So we thought that was a given. You come over here, you join, you on this court, you better be on this team. So we don't have to ask. But then here people come shooting the ball in the wrong hoop intentionally. You playing for the ops now. You're gonna tell us
So could it be said that some of our best scholars, and I'm going to keep it frank, $100 a buck, all of that on this show right here. So could it be said those like from that class of Dr. Clark and Dr. Ben be really swaying us that way for us to want to go back and we're not the same, and now this delineation, because they never really talked about it from that angle. And it's just a question if anybody want to take it.
No, I'm gonna give it to you, and I'm gonna pass the mic back.
Pause. They did, just not with you. And that's why Shashi McIntyre said that she debated with them often. You don't know about it because you wasn't in the room. Dr. Khalid Abdul Muhammad brought attention to it. You just wasn't in the room. And nobody carried it forward. But
until now.
Go ahead, Brother Tad.
Oh no, and I'm glad you put context to it, because what I was gonna say, you got to remember, in the time of Dr. Clark's and the Malcolms and the reach for Africa, because we were told, see, it's so multi-layered, because we were told that we had no history, but then they said you came from Africa, there was no history there. So there was this grand search to find some value in Africa, since many of us were told we were from there. But in our research now, Brother Black, many of us learned that we was already here prior to Europeans. And what Europeans did was play the mind game on us and tell us we was from somewhere else, so we wouldn't identify with the land, so they can do what? Land grab from us. Do the New World Order thing. Because remember, out of all the Africans that were stole during the transatlantic slave trade, or kidnapping, or human trafficking, or Mayafa, whatever you want to call it, only about 2 to 4% came to this land that we call the United States of America. But then when you look at what Bishop Bartholomew de la Casa said, who wrote with Christopher Columbus, when you look at Pablo Vasquez Nunez, what he said, when the early explorers, when he got to the Americas, they saw dark-skinned, copper-colored people. Copper is brown. It is not red. But this is what the Europeans said to pull the mind screw on us, you know? So they told the Black people that was here that you're not from here, just so you don't have no connection to the land. But what was so crazy, our grandparents been telling us that, and many of us who joined the Pan-African community adopted the rhetoric. That's why the elders said, you know, I said, what does delineate mean? He means to move away from Africa, and that's just not what delineate means. So anytime you have an independent thought or an idea outside of the lies that's told to us by the Europeans and the African-centered think tanks, you're the problem. Anytime you have an idea based on research, Sister Keisha putting up Albert Perry. This is recent science. The guards used to call themselves Asiatic because at one point they thought they was from Asia. Like it's so multi-layered. And I'm gonna pass the mic, but I'm gonna say this: all the information that the scholars gave us prior to now is for this day, for us to build on their shoulders. That's why Dr. David Imhotep wrote the first Americans were Africans. People just made blackness synonymous with African. That's it. That's all they did was make blackness synonymous with African. So if you identify as black, you subconsciously people want to see you as an African. That's one book. But then you got Dr. Ivan Van Sertima that came before Columbus, and it talked about the African/black people presence here prior to European invasion. But our grandparents and great-grandparents been told us our history that we're all not from Africa. They've been saying that. We just got caught up in the rhetoric, and many of us adopted it because Dr. Clark or Malcolm X may have said we African. But we're following our bloodline now. We learned that grandma and great-granny was right. They should know who the family history is, not some book. That's a eponymous identity. But I'm passing the mic.
Thank you, Brother Tad.
Exactly. And I just had to pull that up because Brother Tad was mentioning Christopher Columbus, and I already had that queued up as well. Because
we always on the same page, sis.
Always.
We can't make this up. We can't make this up.
Always. We don't even talk about it beforehand. I'm telling y'all. That's how I know it's in divine order. Speaking of divine order, our brother Divine U.S. Freedmen's Project. Welcome to Thorough Black Talk. Time to burn the bridge down, brother. What were your thoughts on that event that took place Friday?
First, I just want to make one comment real quick because it was one of the comments I saw. They was asking about the banner. So this is just a side note so we can get down to business. The reason why the banner said 1863 to 2023, I think was BX Network. That was when that was an extra label that we added 2 years ago when we marched in the parade because that was the 200-year anniversary of the Emancipation Proclamation. So that's the year that you see on that banner. That's from the 2023 parade that we added on to it just to give the history context in the 2023 Foundation Black American Day Parade because nobody else in the parade was even talking about that or acknowledging that history. Just like nobody acknowledged the 80th year anniversary of the Double B campaign that we acknowledged this year at the Foundation Black American Day Parade. And so that's kind of one of the things that we look to bring that's unique because of exactly what Brother Taz, Sister Keisha, and Sister Brooke were talking about here on this live. There has been this push to Africanize much of our history because, like I said before, in my opinion, the greatest trick Pan-Africanism ever played was to convince us that Black and African were the same. And so to talk about how bring that full circle to what happened in the room, I just want to hit us with a couple of data points. The reason why we never had to disaggregate and delineate is when you look at in the 1910s, I believe in that census, over 90% of all quote unquote Black people were native born multi-generational Black Americans. Over 90%. So there was no need to delineate and disaggregate. Black meant us before the Pan-Africanism comes in and starts to change that ideology. And also another fact about that, like Brother Tao was saying about just the amount of enslaved Africans being brought over directly from the continent. By the year 1850, most of our enslaved ancestors were multi-generational Black Americans born in the country that we were building. In juxtaposition, in 1850, you still had enslaved Africans coming directly from the continent, being brought into the Caribbean, the West Indies, and into Brazil and other areas where there were enslaved peoples kept. So that's the difference between our ethnogenesis, our ethnicity, our lineage, and those of the others that Pan-Africanism looks to force team us with. So now let's get to that meeting where the force team was happening. And so everything that they said is exactly what happened. Brother Tad, that was a great point that I didn't think about, was to the question of why did we go? If we didn't go, that sister would have been by herself. And if you've done this movement or been in this movement, done any of this work for any extended period of time, there was a time where you were by yourself, where you had to stand on your square alone. And you know what that feels like. For no other reason but to be there for that sister that none of us had ever known, to let her know that on her journey, she don't gotta be alone. It was worth it. But for me to speak directly to myself and why I went is because I'm from Brooklyn. That's it. Like, so I'm used to being alone, like I just said. I'm used to speaking truth to power. And though I have never been a street dude, I've always been able to travel around Brooklyn comfortably. So when Brooke first showed me the flyer, I was like, I'm in there. What's up? She was like, oh, I might have to go to work. I might be able to go with you and leave early. I said, all right, whatever. Then we heard the he's on the bridge when Sister Keisha and the fam that's still here right now, when y'all burnt it down last week, and she was like, I ain't going. So I was like, all right, Sister Brooke, I'm still gonna go. And then I heard Brother Tad, like in the background, kind of sounded like he might show up. So that's when I hit him on the back channel. I was like, yo, you going? Just let me know if you're going, because if you're going now, I ain't alone. You know what I'm saying? Because I already know what to expect going into that room, going into that area, right? And so, but what I found would have been much worse than I expected had we not been there. Because, you already heard them talking about having a conversation about us without us. Here's, for me, in my personal opinion, the most egregious part of what they were going to do had we not showed up and stood on Lineage business. No pun intended, since that's the comment that just came up. I'll take that. What they were trying to do, the panel was stacked, right, with bi-ethnics and Afro-immigrants that were going to tell us about us and how to identify. Not only that, the crowd was also Afro-immigrants and what I call Pan-African Americans. So no one was standing on the side of, hey, you know what? Black Americans might be right. Or let's look into this thing critically and objectively to find out why they're trying to delineate and have a term all to themselves. Maybe based on some of our actions, or maybe just based on how this relationship is going. Let's assess. There was going to be none of that. It was an echo chamber. And so it starts off, like Brother Tash said, in bad faith. You have a non-Black American instructing a crowd that doesn't believe that Black Americans should have our own ethnic designation, telling us about Black American history. And here's what I'll say to land my plane and kind of talk toward what Brother Black said when he brought the kind of our icons, our titans of the past. Here is a issue that I'm finding in this space that we are correcting in real time. Most of this Pan-African community is operating on old, antiquated information. Most of us, if not all of us, and I'll speak for myself on that, I was a former Pan-African until I started meeting actual Africans. And to that point, there wasn't an actual African in the entire room that was promoting Pan-Africanism and Uhuru. And I'll land there.
Yeah, that's a fact.
Definitely a fact. Definitely a fact. But, another point that I wanted to mention too, because Sister Aruba 927 says she wish she would have known, she would have pulled up. But we got something for y'all to pull up on October 28th. So stay tuned for that. But we want all y'all in the building October 28th. It's about to get wrecked on October 28th. But, one of the things that I also noticed too was that when the panel was introducing themselves, they was talking about alleged work in the community. Now, let me be frank, because that's the only way I know how to be. You talking about stuff you showed up to and profited from. Then you talking about stuff you showed up to and tried to pull up on somebody. You talking about something you showed up to and financially benefited from. You talking about an organization, the Uhuru movement, one in particular, with white folks in a position of leadership. in your organization.
Don't forget homos either. Don't forget Gazi Kojo.
And the zest monsters.
Don't forget Gazi Kojo.
Accused of touching and feeling folks. Then you had another one who is clout chasing, completely clout chasing, talking about a clothing line and all kind of stuff. We don't give a F about that. When you have a conversation, if Brother Black and I are having a conversation and our conversation is towards the rest of the panel, we got to have representation from the rest of the panel in order for us to have an honest conversation. So when I brought that up, it rubbed people the wrong way. And see, let me tell you something. When I was in school, I was a master debater. I was the head of the debate team. You know why? I can destroy you with your own argument without bringing one point. And that's a skill of listening and comprehending. All of them on that panel talked about their prospective communities. In fact, one brother who was of Haitian lineage, Sister Brooke tried to give him kudos on the Haitian Revolution. This dingbat, it went over his head because he was so frustrated that every point that every person on that panel that he invited to be on that panel was intellectually destroyed. Brother Tad mentioned the old dude.
Mm-hmm.
He was I thought he was going to have a heart attack.
Yeah.
The veins started popping out his neck. He represent in Cobra. D12. Talking nonsense. Then another dude, I thought he was going to jump out his seat and die. Then he started throwing threats because his argument was weak. And so I looked him dead in his eye and said, make your move. Jump. You feeling froggy? Jump.
The one that sat by the wall.
I'm going to wear a black dress next week. So make your move. But again, because of their argument was weak, they began to get frustrated. If you have a disagreement with our position, express that disagreement based on evidence and fact. And they couldn't.
No.
They couldn't. Sister Keisha, shout out to Sister Keisha Cooper in the building. You know, when I be posting on our Thorough Black Talk jobs and stuff like that, they come from Sister Keisha. So she's on code. But she asked the question, the flag behind Brother Divine, how come people weren't waving that flag before? And my response is this: in the spirit of unity, we waved the red, black, and green. But everybody missed the goddamn boat. In the spirit of unity, we kept our mouths closed when the disrespect flourished against us. In the spirit of unity, we helped the nations your asses came from. In the spirit of unity. And we still got pushed to the back. It doesn't matter. And so that's why when I spoke, I talked about my very own resume. Challenging one of the persons on the panel proved me wrong. It's longer than you've been alive, son. So again, in Cobra, with your old antiquated foolishness, gets up and he starts rambling on stuff that we wasn't even talking about.
Right.
We weren't even talking about. What are you talking about here? Let's be clear. As Brother Devon said, where were the Africans? They didn't exist. But you repping something, and I think I showed it on the I know I did, on this broadcast a couple of months ago, where the Minister of Economics under Jomo Kenyatta stated, we are not them. But y'all talked about the Mau Mau. You see? They said we aren't them. And a lot of y'all been hearing this rhetoric, but you did nothing. We let you rock within your own families and your own circles. You told us about the disrespect.
Yep.
Shout out to Sister Pat Patterson. Yep. We let it rock in the spirit of unity to get things done. So then I said, you know, I know how to hit a dagger. That's why Mr. Forrester don't like to argue with me. I know how to hit a dagger. I can hit you right in the gut in the center rib. While they was talking about us and at us, I said, you know what? You all come from a culture where you are so used to leaning on us. You don't know how to stand. Oh my God.
That sent everything in an uproar. That's And Sister Keisha, you know what I found disingenuous too? They said we don't fight white supremacy. I think that's when Sister Brooke blew her lid, Brother Divine. I think because I think Sister Brooke said it. Our legacy is fighting. What are you talking about? Our culture, our history is fighting. You name a war, we won it. Not fought in it, we won it. They only allowed us in to win the war. Whether it was the Civil War, the Revolutionary War, the Korean War. The Vietnamese said, black man, this ain't your war. Go home. Y'all good with us. Like, come on, man. And how do
you know what, Tad? You remind me of real quick.
My father?
I was in the military, so I met a lot of, I know a lot of people that were in Vietnam and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And a lot of brothers told me, man, sometimes the brothers and the Vietnamese would pass each other in the jungle and just trade cigarettes and keep moving.
Yeah.
Like, I'm talking everybody soldiered up.
Right.
Now, everybody got a gun on them, a knife, and, is ready to like knock them up if gotta be, you know what I'm saying?
Right.
But most of the time, that's what they did.
Right. And I mean, we have such a rich history. What many people learn is they learn surface level stuff, but they're not part of the culture. And it's no disrespect, right? Because I'm not part of Caribbean culture. Do I enjoy the food? Do I enjoy the music? Of course. Of course I do. But that's not my culture, and I'm honest about it. Whatever they done in Jamaica and Africa, that's dope. That's black people standing up. But my legacy is tied over here. That's why I'm always quick to say, yo, I'm from Brooklyn. I'm from Brooklyn, period. I grew up with Biggie. I grew up with Foxy. I grew up with Wu-Tang. Like, I'm from the soil. These worldwide entertainers, we used to share quarter waters and potato chips and listen to the older rappers back before any of these people had a record deal or knew they would be big hip-hop stars. That's the culture I'm from, where everybody was banging on the wall in the hallway, just spitting little raps and break dancing on cardboard boxes. Somebody might have got a new refrigerator, and we're going to break dance on the block, flipping on dirty mattresses. That's my culture. We built this. My grandparents listening to Ray Charles and all of them. All the different genres of Black American music in the house, whether it was gospel, house, R&B, hip-hop. That's my culture, the blues. That's my grandmother used to talk bad about people while listening to Mahalia Jackson, talk about that old pie-faced bitch out upstairs. With gospel, like, grandma, your mouth. She's like, that lady could sing. Talking about Mahalia Jackson, like the wildness. This is my culture. And it's not saying that we can't get along and integrate, because my stepfather's Panamanian, the man who loved my mother till she took her last breath in his arms. I can honestly say there was no bullshit in their love. Like, he loved her, she loved him. From 1983, I think they got 82 or 83, they got together up until she passed in 2021. Don't even hear no arguments and fights and none of that crazy stuff. From a child to an adult. You know what I'm saying? So it ain't about that, but Caribbean people make it about that. And black people here in America, when folks came, we welcomed y'all with open arms. welcomed everybody with open arms. And now we're delineating, saying, all right, we do things different. Y'all do that, we do this. Man, that's our stuff. How is it your stuff? You didn't make up you didn't make up hip hop. You didn't make our style of dress. Saying everybody want to dress like nobody I knew wore travel fox and buffalinos. I'm gonna keep it a stack with you. Nobody wore them net shirts. They're not my American people. Didn't wear them net shirts with the belly out with red, gold, and green. I'm just keeping it a buck. But we're saying when you come in our house, wipe your shoes off, wipe your feet off on the thing, and respect the rules of the house. You can't come in my house disrespecting me. You come out the swamps, you got mud all on your shoes. Now you tracking shit all through the kitchen and everything. You wilding. You wilding. So I'm gonna pass you the mic, Brother Divine. I say this because many people was like, Tad, how can you move away from the Pan-African thing? I said, you know what I said, Brother Divine? I done did my community work on the ground in Brooklyn with my youth organization, doing presentations everywhere I went, back and forth to Africa. I realized these people are not serious. The elder, Brother D, that said he was in the movement for 54 years. I know his frustration, who said he was in every organization. What else did he follow that up with? We haven't moved 1 inch. He said, I got in this movement to fight for African people around the world. He said, in 54 years, we ain't moving 1 inch. That's a powerful statement, right? Because the migrants could hop the gate and move as one. The homos can move as one. Everybody can move as one but the Pan-Africans. Because they think everybody got to be, so their whole idea is that we're all going to unify, take over the world, and live happily ever after. And that shit just ain't going to happen. We got to deal with reality. Brother Divine?
Yeah, I man, there was so much that was said. I hope I can remember it all. But first and foremost, kind of to piggyback on what you're saying, and also what Sister Keisha said when she brought up the panel and how they were talking about things that they've done, but it was all things that they could benefit from, right? It's specifically that Guyanese dude, like he's talking about a clothing line, right? Like none of these people were scholars. Like none of these people had did any intricate work in research, right? It was just essentially people that had been propped up in the community, largely by us, that, like Sister Keisha said, took advantage of portions of the community that they could to become a quote-unquote leader. And that is the exact issue with Pan-Africanism and why you get that elder that says we ain't moved a muscle and why we are so against it and focusing on ourselves based on ethnicity and lineage. Why? Because just like white supremacy, the Pan-African movement has largely been a one-directional relationship. And not only one-directional, it's been highly transactional. And so the unity comes at a price, and that price is let me do business with you. And let me do business with you what you are soliciting and purchasing from my business, not me soliciting and purchasing from yours. And so that is starting to be highlighted, right? And so when you talk about, Brother Tad, you are correct. And this is why I kind of not check, but there's a conversation that has to happen amongst FBAs, and we have it. And I try to keep it light because, you know, I'm not going to be against any of my people, but I try to tell them, listen, New York has a very unique history with our Afro immigrants. Let us handle that. You come from areas and you have been blessed to where almost 100% of the quote unquote black people in your area are foundational black Americans.
Yeah.
You're only now starting to see influxes of immigrants and Afro immigrants coming into your area. We've had them here in New York for almost like 100 years. And that's kind of what the bi-ethnic sister was saying on the panel. And what was crazy to what she was saying, where she did, I don't even know if she is saying it, but this is kind of the nefariousness of Pan-Africanism and this ideology. Because the sister was bragging that she has lineage that goes to the Caribbean, but you wouldn't know it by looking at her. So she was bragging about being able to cosplay. And it's like, but us standing on being proud of who we are, whether you can look at us and tell it or not, that was offensive. Because for them, success is assimilating.
Yes.
Success is hiding in plain sight. And so when you say it's not disrespectful, I'm going to respectfully disagree with you and push back a little bit, Brother Tad, because here's what I know about myself and other foundational Black Americans that travel, because that's another trope that they love trying to throw in our face, that we never went nowhere. We never left. Now, I'm a Brooklyn boy, but I've been blessed to be able to travel. And here's what I do, and all the other foundational Black Americans that I know that travel to countries where there is a large, if not majority, Afro-populated groups with native-born, Afro groups. I went to Jamaica for like a week. I did extensive research on customs and traditions and language. So when I got there and dealt with the locals, I didn't say nothing out the way. I wasn't disrespectful. I didn't step on nobody's toes. I've done that for multiple countries. When I went to Costa Rica, went to Peru, same thing. I want to know the customs, but I also want to know the history. Because I know the same thing they did to us here, they did similar things, not the same, similar things to other Afro groups in other countries. So I want to know that so I can have a kinship and have an educated, respectful conversation. Here's what far too many Afro immigrants come and do when they get here. One, they have already come in with an anti-foundational Black American sentiment and culture. They already have a disdain. They claim that they learned it from the white man or from white supremacy, or when they get to the immigration office. That is false. They already have it. It's in their culture, especially if we start talking about the continent, because that is the most disunified place probably on the planet. Now, there's multiple reasons why that is, but that doesn't stop that from being a true statement. But what happens is they come here and we see it, we've heard it. The same way in that meeting, they was talking about, oh, well, what about the African booty scratcher? And what about the term HBO that I never heard before? And I've grown up around Haitians and Caribbeans my entire life. I've never heard HBO. And supposedly it stood for Haitian body odor. Now that's funny because from my personal experience, I ain't trying to throw no Afro group under the bus. But if I had to start judging body odors, Haitians don't make the top 10. If I'm talking about ones I'm going clown, so what to be HBO and not NBO, or let me not start naming countries, but there's other countries that got a distinct smell that I can tell as soon as I smell it. Haitians ain't one of them. So I'm going to leave that alone. But the bottom line is they will talk about that, but they will pretend like saying, oh, y'all just lazy. Y'all don't want to work. They pretend those are not tropes. And so I'm glad my brother Tad said, when the brother brought up black on black crime to me, when I started talking about tribalism of the continent, my brother Tad said, oh, that sounds like Charlie Kirk.
Yeah.
Why? Because they come here, assimilate, adopt white supremacist tropes, and speak them to our community like they're truths.
Right.
And when we call it out, they start talking about these weak ass tropes like HBO and African booty scratcher. When African booty scratcher was what we said to each other long before we knew what an African was in our schools.
Say it again.
In 1910, over 90% of all Black people were native-born foundational Black Americans. So though we have a long, illustrious history with them in our communities and in our classrooms, they weren't here in large numbers until after 1965, the 80s to be real exact, when Reagan let them in and gave amnesty, and then for the Africans in the 2000s. So it hasn't been this long, illustrious history of us combating each other and fighting against each other. And then if we're going to be real truthful, when they start throwing that xenophobia around, like Sister Brooks said in the meeting, when she talked about the Haitians dealing with the Black co-conspirators first, we ain't never did nothing that looks like what we see them do to each other on the continent and in the Caribbean when they want them out their country or they think that they're a detriment to them. We haven't done anything that comes close at all. But here's the disrespect, and I'll take a breath here so why I said I was going to push back on Brother Tad a little bit. In addition to not coming here and learning our story so that they have respectful conversation with us, and also trafficking in tropes that they try to talk to us as if it's truth like the white supremacists do, here's the last key that they do that we have never done. Especially since we don't go and live in other countries like they do in any large, significant numbers. We might travel, I travel, but I bring my ass back home. Because home is where the heart is. I have a country that I built that I'm proud of. It needs work, but I'm still proud of it. Here's something.
We got running water, man.
We have never moved to other countries in any significant numbers and joined their political entities and tried to talk for them and undermine them that are doing anything on the ground for them. That happens all too often. And it is my belief, I don't want to speak for anybody else on the planet, which is why I'm pushing back on Pan-Africanism so hard, is because Pan-Africanism, in my opinion, is like a sleeper cell that gives them cover and says it's okay to have those anti-foundational Black American views because they are lost people anyway. You know what? Those foundational Black Americans, they are kind of lazy. You know what? Those foundational Black Americans don't know what's best for themselves politically. So if you want to come here and speak for them, we're going to not only elevate you, we're going to co-sign you, and we're going to make sure that they're not allowed to make movements to undermine or overthrow you. And that's what Pan-Africanism has been doing to us for a long time, and we are correcting it in real time. And that's why we're getting so much pushback, because there's an image on Sister Brooks' channel when it comes on. And I've been looking for this image everywhere. I can't find it even with Grok. It shows white people eating, and I said this before, but I'll say it again in land. There's a meme where it was white people eating at a table, and the tabletop was resting on the back of Black people. And essentially it's saying, as soon as we stand up and know who we are, we disrupt the whole table, we push it over, right? We topple it. What I found out is that all those Black people which the table is on are foundational Black Americans. And when we started this movement, and I pushed up against that table a little bit, just enough so I could see over the top, not only did I see white people sitting at that table, I saw continental Africans and Caribbeans sitting at that table as well. So when we stand up and push this shit over, it disrupts all of their game plan. And that's why it feels like foundational Black Americans versus everybody, because it is.
Can I jump in right? Because he said something.
Go ahead. And then I'm gonna address this comment right here. Go ahead.
I can you put up the flyer? Can you put up the flyer real quick? Because he says something that goes right back to that flyer. When he was talking about, here we go. All right. So let's take a look at this flyer for a second, right? At the bottom here, it has like all the Black diaspora fighting over the crumbs that are falling from the table of the white American, I'm assuming, right? And let me start by saying this. This is so ridiculous. Number one, let me tell you what this picture what the reality of this picture is that Black Americans had a piece of bread. Wait, before we even go there, we have the largest spending power of all the Black diaspora. Nobody, we spend more than a lot of their countries combined. And they're calling that crumbs, number one. That's number one. That's insult number one. Let's go further. So now we're at the table and they're all fighting like we're all equal at this table here. Number one, it should be where we have a piece of bread and we share it with you. We fought the white folks to share our piece of bread with you. And then you took your muddy feet and ground it in our white couch. After we shared our bread. And then you took you scrambled up the white man's leg into his crotch. And you laid there like his pet. And you let him pat you on your head and tell you that you was different and tell you that you were hardworking and tell you that you was different from those on the bottom, on the floor, who let you in and gave you a piece of their bread. So from the inception of this picture, you insulted me, my lineage, my people, and it's unacceptable. So that's that.
Cooked. And the thing too, because I wanted to address this. Runner. Name seems befitting, but anyway, as an African immigrant living in the States, I noticed just how much America is obsessed by race. 90% of problems in US stem from race. To say such a comment means you don't know our history here. You don't know the founding of this nation. And we were there from its inception. As a matter of fact, you could go check through our archives. A couple of weeks, we honored those who fought in the American Revolution. And because I say that because a lot of people saw Sister Brooke with the American flag, our sister from the U.S. Freedmen's Project with the American flag. Our ancestors fought and bled so that this country could exist. The one you fled from. I fled too, excuse me. Now, where you're from, you're running from people who look like you. But you're going to question what we're doing. You running from people who look like you, who were conned by people we've been fighting. And when you go through a lot of the history, some of your presidents, prime ministers will tell you that they got their revolutionary spirit from us. We existed before your nations had a name. We are standing on lineage business, not just for us, but for the diaspora, because it's your ancestors that sold ours into slavery in the first place. But you negate that. As Sister Brooks says, let's take, for example, nursing. A lot of people from the diaspora, and particularly the Caribbean, South America, and some parts of Africa, were given opportunities to be nurses here in this country. But when you got here, we found out a lot of your paperwork is faulty. When you got here, you complained that it was Black Americans who didn't want these jobs, who were just complaining. But now you're outside protesting for equal wages. You don't need equal wages. Take what you're given because you spoke against us. My mother lost a pair of twins on a courthouse steps because the hospital right across the street wouldn't service Black people. But you came and you worked in that hospital. Not too long ago, they shut that hospital down. You got what you deserved. You don't look at the history, as Brother Devon said. When I travel abroad, I know my standing. I study where I go. I don't interject myself into your politics. It's not my business. When you're here and you advocate for what's going on in your homeland, and you talk about the YT man and what he has done and is doing, where is your fight? You left. Remember that. The fight is going on back home because you're afraid to fight people who look like you. As Brother Devon says, there is turmoil going in various countries right now with people who look like each other. We were raised, our lineage proves that we fight that beast. We don't run from it. Your leaders capitulated your citizenship, your sovereignty for a few pieces of silver, but you afraid to fight them. The white man would not be allowed to come in and stifle your resources if your leaders didn't sell it off. And so you can't tell me anything about my lineage and my people here. The Civil War, who the Freedmen's Project was so gracious to honor in this Black American Day parade, was won because of my ancestors. I don't have to stand on Garvey's shoulders. I don't have to stand on anybody's shoulders. The Mau Mau, the Moors, whomever. This country was established because Abraham Lincoln went to a Black man, Martin Delany, and begged him to reach out to Black people who were on plantations to come and fight because they were losing the war. We got into it and fought for our freedom. No white man gave us anything, including your naturalized citizenship in this country. Read up on Samson Keeble. Read up on Booker T. Washington. Read up on those Black businessmen who interjected themselves into U.S. politics when they were given the vote before the white woman, and established an immigration commission because they saw the influx of white tea folks coming into this nation and wanted to balance out the scale. So when that woman on the panel said that her ancestor, one, was here since the late 1800s, is because we made it so. White folks weren't just nice to let you come over here. We made it so. And so, by way of gratitude, respect, and understanding, you should know better. But I get your position because you come from a culture that is hell-bent on fighting each other. You pose no threat to the white tea man that you said came in and stole your resources and corrupted your leaders. How did that happen? Because they allowed it by their own greed, their own aspirations, their own thirst for power. And so, anytime you want a historical checkmate, I'm glad to give it to you. And so for that, runner, check and mate.
And keep running.
Keep running. I am the wrong one to try to play these ridiculous talking points with, because I am so well versed in my history, I will destroy you on your own argument. You are now destroyed. And so, do not hold spaces when you're talking about us or at us. Don't have a panel and you say it's about unity and we ain't on a goddamn panel. When you have a panel and everyone is a monolith on that panel, it is already corrupted. And we came on Friday just to let you know that. And so, like I said, I knew it was a clout chasing event because that's what y'all do. I got a text today because I put my number down on the sign-in sheet that they would like to invite me to a community event to let us know what kind of work they do. Mother effer, I don't give a damn. It is naught. Look up the word. I don't need it. I don't want it. Ain't interested. And now you're blocked.
I responded. I sent them the link to this live.
Uh-oh. Pull up. If y'all in the chat, let me know. I'll send you the link. You're welcome.
We're gonna call her Firestarter Brooke up in here.
Because like I said, why would you, after we intellectually destroyed you, why would we join your organization? You sat there and you told us you can't do nothing. You can't snatch down your own people. They told us that. He said specifically. What was the politician he specifically named?
Farrah
Do
Lewis.
you remember? Thank you, Sarah Lewis. He said they
Farrah,
have been trying. Oh, Farrah. He said they have been trying for the longest time to get her out. When we told him, how come you don't take down your own people? He told us that, so basically, you can't do it. So why would we join with you? Because let me tell you something. We gonna do it. These people will not be interfering in what we got going on. So you can sit there and talk about what you can't do. That's not what we do. We talk about what we can do. So I wanted to know. I wanted her to let her know. Let you see this. Why would we join your organization? We destroyed you intellectually. You should be asking to join. And then on top of it, I'm sorry, I'm from Brooklyn. Who the are you? Who are you? That I should want to join you. This is my country. I intellectually destroyed you. You're not smarter than me. You're not stronger than me. You have no power. Why would I join you? Check out this live.
He crazy. He or she, or he, she, we don't know what the hell you are. But I destroyed you. It's over. You're done.
Could it be?
Go back home. See, I'm not going to argue with you. I will call ICE. Because I bet you your paperwork or your family's paperwork is probably faulty. And just in case you missed it, the current U.S. president made it point blank, period, and clear. Its greatness came from us, not you, freeloader. Where are your inventions? We destroy you on that alone. You are using the internet now, thanks to us. So offer a thank you. But you're so used to freeloading, you can't even see clearly. You're already destroyed. You are the KKK. And so I'm not going to go back and forth with you. My Mars is in the building, but we're going to let you rock. We love the haters. I love the haters. Bring it, Dusty. You musty tether you. But I'm not. So we got to move on.
Can I just say one last thing before we move on to something else?
Yes, sir. Go ahead.
Yeah, I just wanted to say really quick. One of the things, and this is another reason why it was so powerful for us to be there, and also just the way you destroy Runner, is because if y'all remember correctly, and if I remember correctly, they framed this as a necessary conversation, even though we knew it was clout chase. Remember, they were saying, "Oh, it's necessary to have this conversation in person because online and in person are two different things."
Yes.
And so the way they were framing the conversation was that if the people or the quote unquote bots or the accounts that are talking about Foundation Black Americans are only online. So when we showed up to the away game in their house, in their building, came off the bench and dropped 50 in the win, that showed them that this is not an online thing. This is a real life, in your face, anytime thing. And so us being in the building and being well versed, despite Runner's popular belief, and being well educated on the topic, that is why it went the way it went. And it's, again, there's so many similarities, and this is kind of why I hate to make so many similarities because they love trying to put the white supremacist jacket on us. But when I'm making these things, these are valid based on the way in which they move. And so when we talk about what Dr. Neely Fuller taught us about white supremacy, and when the lies stop working, the violence begins, right? And I'm paraphrasing. And so in the same way is exactly how the meeting played out with those Pan-Africans in that space. When the lies and the deflections no longer worked, that's why our sister Keisha had to say, make you move because the violent fear mongering started.
Right.
When they started getting called out and debunked, that's why the Jamaican tried to come and get some of his soul food. Would have been too much for his spirit and his digestive system. If he could put them bammy hands on me, we'd have had a problem in that room. It'd have been a whole different thing, but I digress.
Well, we knew he wasn't built like that.
What I'm saying is that once you debunk them intellectually, the frustration and the violence starts to come out. And that's what we have to be prepared for. The great thing about it is that we are some of the best, if not the best, freedom fighters. Bring it to your door. X gonna give it to you. Knock, knock on the door. X gonna deliver it to you. We are the best at that. So if that's the route you want to take, know to go that way too. And I think us showing up was a
But
way
they don't.
to do that.
They don't.
Say it again, what's that?
I said they don't want that, and they know that.
They don't want that. They've never been built for that. And
We was
honestly,
too comfortable.
I don't want to go that route. I'm just letting you know that that's a possible option.
Look, I live there.
So let's just keep it intellectual. Let's keep it to the point where you have these bad faith comments and these bad faith talking points. And when you're debunked, it's okay to respectfully accept defeat. That's okay, right? Because here's the thing they're doing that's so disingenuous. We already know that in the same spirit of our A. Philip Randolphs, our Frederick Douglasses, our Barbara Jordans, our Coretta Scott Kings, there is a negative effect that immigration has on foundational Black Americans, period. End of discussion. Is not even up for debate. This is documented. And so when you start to push that on us and then try to come up with excuses and reasons why we should not focus on that, you're actively telling us that foundational Black Americans have to sacrifice our identity and our well-being on the altar of African unity. And what I'm here to tell you from my mouth, based on myself speaking for me, those days are dead and gone. And so you can keep pushing that if you want. You could do the Uhuru if you want. You could play the role of the lost African in America if you want. I told them that if they're watching, I'll tell them now if not, they can catch it on the replay. Whether you like it or not, there is a foundational Black American renaissance where we are self-interested and focusing on our lineage and our ethnic group. And that doesn't mean we mean you any harm, but we don't want to see you win. What we are saying, again, which triggered what Sister Keisha said, you've been so used to hanging on what we've been able to do that you forgot or thought you would never have to stand on your own. So we're just letting you know that you will have to, we will have to, and we will allow when and if we can. And I'll land it.
Yeah. Sister Keisha, did you see what I just sent you? I just texted you a video, the video that they showed at the spot, which is about 5 minutes. And to Runner, shout out to you. We saw that thing. He put a post and said BBL rap song and dope ain't gonna make y'all rich, change the culture. Real quick, that is not our culture. Part 1. Part 2, you're saying that being rich is the ultimate goal, which you just gave away your value system, which that is not our value system. If you're trying to compare money, come on, man. We got way more millionaires than you do on the continent. One of our millionaires got more money than all of your millionaires combined. So if we're doing the measuring stick of who got bread, who don't, come on, man. Ain't nobody doing BBL and rap songs to get rich. We talking about freedom and liberation, sovereignty, my dude. What are you talking about? But that's y'all problem. That's why y'all run here. Y'all think this is the land of opportunity, you know, and when you get here, it ain't what you thought it was. And this is the disrespect we talking about, because I don't know what BBLs and rap songs got to do with your argument, because we're not, nobody here said rap songs and BBLs, but that's what you think. So thank you for exposing yourself, Runner. Now, Sister Farnessa, could you do us the honors of showing him the door? But yeah, But you know, you let people talk long enough, they let you know where they stand. And this is why we let the trolls stay, because all they do is prove our point. Nobody said nothing about rapping BBL, but this is something his parents probably taught him about what black culture is. Nobody said nothing about getting rich. I don't think nobody on this panel is starving or broke. Not broke the way we running from our country. Not broke the way we. Come on, man.
Insane. It's insane.
It is.
But you know, one thing that is showing is insanity.
Yeah.
I think someone put it, Chocolate Bunny, I think it was, put in the chat, we can only go by 4 or 5 generations. I count 11 on one and 9 on the other. What are you talking about? What are you talking about?
I can go back 7.
They can only go back 2. Because like I said, the nation of which you come from, those names didn't exist. They didn't exist.
Right. Those countries didn't exist until 1884.
Burkina Faso was what? Upper Volta?
Mm-hmm.
Right? In that area, Burkina Faso, Ghana, Nigeria era, it was called the supercargo. Because you were selling people left, right, and center to the white T-man. And so, if you know anything about generations,
I think Chocolate Bunny is FBA, though. I think they're saying that we should, go back, as FBAs, if I'm not mistaken. Chocolate Bunny, are you FBA? As I was told. Because one thing I realized too, sis, is a lot of people are learning about FBA, who are FBA. And, you and I have been talking about this since the Straight Black Pride days. We've been telling people, research your own family history. Because I felt it was, me personally, it's Brother Tad, I felt it was disingenuous to honor all of these ancestors from other places. And I knew my great-grandmothers. I knew both of my grandmothers' mothers. I knew both of them. Like when they passed, I was old enough to go to the funeral. I remember them babysitting me, feeding me. My great-grandmother, Mama Granny, is the one who told me don't eat with your elbows on the table. My other great-grandmother, we called her Ma. She used to say, don't smack when you eat. Little tidbits that you take with you as an adult moving forward. Just proper etiquette is what I was taught in my home by my great-grandmothers, who both of their mothers were Native American. They identified as Native American. The men in the family had African ancestry.
Right.
But the women were indigenous Native Americans. In fact, I was showing, I think my daughter the picture yesterday, I forgot who else, but I was just talking about, just ancestry, knowing who your bloodline is. I got pictures, as you stated, sis. We've been free longer than Africa been emancipated. We were free before Nigeria was formed. We were free before Ghana was named Ghana. These are borders created by European people. We were free in 1865. These rather emancipated in 1865, because even freedom is subjective. We were emancipated in 1865. These borders was created in 1884 or 1886 in the Berlin Conference. So again, I wish these people really knew what they were talking about, but they're regurgitating European talking points, because even to assume that all Africans are the same is a European talking point, is which they use to justify the enslavement of African people. Because if African people knew their history, they would know that Europeans were fighting each other to see who was going to colonize Africa. That's what the Berlin Conference was all about. Like, look, we got to sit to the table and we got to decide how we're going to divide this thing up, because we can't keep killing each other over these people. It's enough to go around. France, you take this. Europe, you take that. Portugal, you take this. Spain, y'all take that. England, we got this. That's what the Berlin Conference was all about. Because when you go to the dungeons, you look at the cannons are pointed outward because they were fighting other European countries that were coming in. Mm-hmm. So, I mean, it's so multi-layered, and some people are just learning or may not even have learned. That's why a lot of people, and shout out to Kaba Kamene, a lot of people were upset because he identified FBA culture. He said, no, I'm FBA. FBA is a real thing. Black people were here prior to all of this stuff. And he talked about the 4 migrations into America by Black people prior to the transatlantic slave trade. I'm going to say this and I'm going to pass the mic. When Pan-Africans or anybody start U.S. history with slavery alone, you're regurgitating white talking points. Because we were here prior to slavery, slavery interrupted our story here and abroad. So we're not going to start with slavery. We, as FBAs, use slavery because that's an identifying marker of a world event that happened, like Jewish people always identify with the Holocaust. That wasn't the only thing that happened in Jewish history, but it's a significant marker in their story. Like slavery is a significant marker in Black American history. And with that, I'm passing the mic.
Facts. But just to be clear, how ancestral DNA goes down. Hugh, 2 parents, 4 grandparents, 8 great-grandparents, 16 great-great-grandparents, 32 great-great-great-grandparents. As you can see, if we go down to 1,024
different people.
People.
Add the other lines together, though. You got to add that too. Add the 2 with the 4, add that with the 8, add that with the 16, add that with the 32, add that with the 64, add that with the 128, add that with the 234. You cannot just say it's a singular story. Go ahead, sis. I'm sorry.
It's all right, brother. It is all right. Because, we get it. We get it, family. We get it. But we want you to get it. We want you to be clear, on your position. Don't come with the fakeness. I don't hate nobody. Excuse me. I don't hate nobody. I rock out with anybody who's on code with us. But when you're not on code, you're going to get this work. We're going to get you right back in line where you need to be. And apparently, a lot of people need to be brought back into the fold. They need to be brought back online because this thing really kicked off. Excuse me. This thing really kicked off when these reparations hearings started happening. Because all of these reparations hearings, as I said, it's always folks from the diaspora who do one of 2 things. Either say we don't deserve it, or try to grandfather themselves onto our claim. Now, we want everybody to get their reparations, but everybody don't have a claim here. If you're in Jamaica, you got to fight with the British. Haiti, their fight is with France. The Congo, your fight is with France. Show me where on your local politics do we interject ourselves? It doesn't exist. Now, you had the former spokesperson for the African Union who said, Dr. Arankana, that is, who said the exact same things the FBA is saying. Africa has fallen short. Africa must do better. You cannot ask people to come home and help you build your nation when you have not made them whole. And so I think, I know the fear is, once we get this bag, you next. Because I'm not letting nobody off the hook for mine. But the next reparations hearing.
Can I interject for 1 second? When you said that's their fear, that absolutely is their fear. There is an article in the New Yorker called "My Great Grandfather, the Nigerian Slave Trader." Give me a little while. I'll put it in the chat in a little bit. In that article, that is one of the things that she talked about, that she and her cousins are sitting around wondering how long before, because they hear this conversation, and this article was written a few years ago too, before the commission even got together. So, they were wondering, they're sitting around wondering how long before we come to them for reparations. So this is a definitely something that they're thinking about.
Absolute facts. And because I'm fighting for what my ancestors were promised, and just like any other debt collector, if you died today and you die with a substantial estate, those debt collectors are coming for your estate. And they have every right to do so. That is the law. But when we come for our debt collector, it's a problem. None of y'all have this energy for the Japanese who were made whole, those who were in those internment camps during World War II. None of you come for Jewish folks who are still getting reparations. None of you say, well, Black Americans are right. Our nation should receive any more aid until they are made whole. You are in agreement with continuing to fleece instead of making things whole. When people say Black Americans don't have no culture, let me show this before I move to the reparations. You have a man by the name of KRS-One who has made a living off of Black American culture. Mm-hmm. Some people refer to him as the teacher. But see, people forget. I don't. Let me tell you what he first said when asked about rap music.
Or do you like other styles too? I like reggae. Reggae. I like reggae better than anything. Rap music is boring to me. Mm-hmm. It's boring. But there's a few good albums. Like, see, the whole rap industry isn't booming. Like, see, the whole reggae industry, I can listen to reggae all day. Ninja Man will be saying something. Shavo will say something. Well, Tiger. Oh no, Tiger is. Oh, I don't want to diss Tiger. He's cool too. But I'm talking about people that are booming right now. Yeah. Cuddy Ranks and these are like records you can throw on and get a vibe. Mm-hmm. Rap music, man, they're not saying nothing. They're not saying nothing. Type of music.
He made a career off of people not saying nothing. Where is the apology? It doesn't exist. You see? The same with Fat Joe or Busta Rhymes. Cardi B, whose lineage come from other places, made a living and continued to do so off of something we created. No apology, more disrespect. We created it. Again, goes to my point, you're good with being a freeloader. You see? But now you're being checked. And a lot of people don't like it because, and this is our fault, we hold fault in that. It should have been checked a long time ago. But in the spirit of brotherhood, we let a lot of things slide. No more. No more. It's over. And so October 28th, 2025 is the next Reparations Commission hearing. It's going to be in Brooklyn. I know Sister Pat, Brother Ray are in the chat. It's going to be at Bethany Baptist Church. Bethany Baptist Church was founded by Dr. Jones. William Clayton Jones. His brother was a great attorney, Lewis Clayton Jones. There were some significant race cases that took place in the late 1980s, early 90s, where Bethany Baptist Church played a pivotal role. One of the persons on the reparations committee who is of a Pan-Africanist mindset is the daughter of William Augustus Jones. And so, Brother Ray said Bill Jones in the chat. So we know she is a problem on the commission. You know, a hard problem. But, you know, as Brother Devon always lets us know, we want this bill dead on arrival. We don't want them reaching the commission, that is, asking for an extension, because anything that is race-based in this country is illegal. And that's why every attempt at reparations has failed.
Don't forget she's a lawyer.
She is. And but anyway, let me play this and we'll come right back.
Welcome to the Schomburg Center for Research in Black Culture here in Harlem. This certainly is a historic occasion to have the New York State Community Commission for Reparation Remedies here at the Schomburg. Our commission is diverse in its expertise, but united in purpose.
We are doing something that hasn't been done in the state of New York, and I think this is the moment.
I am learning something new and more informative about the injuries and the harm every time we meet.
So the thing that excites me most is to hear from the public. And so that's one of our call outs, is to make sure that we get that input and feedback from the public.
If we're going to talk about reparations, we have to talk about how do we rectify all aspects of discrimination that we experience as Black people in totality.
For centuries, Black voices in New York have been deliberately silenced. Silenced by law, silenced by violence, silenced to preserve a racial hierarchy. It was a system explicitly designed to subjugate Black lives.
We didn't get our 40 acres in a mule. They denied our ancestors education and the knowledge to build wealth. And if they didn't deny him, we wouldn't be struggling the way we are.
Black youth are the ones who are paying the price for enslavement still, regardless of where they came from. And we see these echoes of enslavement every day.
African people were the collective victims of a collective injury, and that the repair has got to be collective.
Reparations are lineage-based, and it should be handled by the federal government. So all of the commissions should get together and present their cases to the federal government so they could solve this for us, and us only.
The idea that we're all just Africans in our respective locations where the boat dropped us off is the problem that we have here. And so if you did not go through the harms, you do not get the repair. Something happened to you. It's a separate claim, not ours.
We reject lineage-based reparations because the harm has never only been about ancestry. It has been about race. That is why we say reparations must go beyond money. It must acknowledge, affirm, resource, educate, and operationalize systems of support.
We need to restore the dignity, freedoms, and rights to all those wronged under racial hierarchy.
The way to empower ourselves, if reparation is to empower us, is through education. The main purpose of education is to be a better handler of power. And when you have power, you don't ask for nothing, you take it.
The fight for reparations is a worldwide fight. We need to be able to function in New York and function in the world, and the reparations should be crafted so that we can do that.
Reparations is back payment for services rendered. If you weren't here and you did not render any services during slavery, you do not qualify for reparations.
Nobody's free as long as one brother got shackles on their wrist. As long as y'all keep arguing amongst each other and don't see each other as brothers and sisters, they still win. Always understand that. We are one people. We stronger together as a fist.
Join us. Make your voice heard in person.
Oh, sis. Supposed to open up with this one. You pull this apart.
You see what goes on. I think I see my brother Sage behind the scene. Let me bring him up. Welcome, Brother Sage. If you can hear us, just open your mic. If not, then I'll give you a minute to get that checked out. And so anyway, as you can see, just from this clip, and this was from a recent, not too long ago at the Schomburg in Harlem. But the lineage-based organizations are on the panel. Ron Daniels has no business anywhere, ever. IB24 is only in it for himself. Then you had attorney Roger Wareham.
I saw him.
From December 12th, talking that talk. And you saw people from the diaspora trying to grandfather themselves into our claim. And I hear a lot of people say, you know, we with y'all. But we'll never see you in these spaces. You're never there. And so we have to, thankfully, be there all the time. I'll let Ray tell y'all then. I'll let Ray tell y'all. But again, the shenanigans that's been going on. And we have to have our wits about ourselves when we give testimony, because even though we want this bill to die as it is, the recorded testimony is key. It is very key. And then I'll let Brother Devon explain that. But I just want you to hear, because also they are hiring these historical researchers or historians to give commentary about slavery in New York. And every historian so far has always surpassed enslavement. And so when they include things like redlining and police brutality and things like that, you open the door to allow people, as Sister Ruba 927 just said, to piggyback. And that muddies the waters. And so I often ask these historians, what are your criteria when you're given this assignment? And I want that on the record so that when we come back, it is well noted that we saw the BS for what it was. So I'll play my testimony on this one and we'll come right back with Brother Devon. Hold on. Can you hear me? Yes, can you hear me?
Yep.
Yes, my name is Mrs. Keisha Forrester. My question is, with the historical presentation that was presented to us, thank you for that. But I want to ask, why does the historical information go beyond 1865 when the claim for reparation and the agreement to pay that reparation was based on the enslavement and those who were on the census right after that? So I'm a little bit confused as to why we continue to include people of color, Latinx, all of these things, redlining. This negates the claim for reparation as it connects to what was promised to us. So it muddies the waters, if you will, and allows others to grandfather clause themselves into it. So I need an understanding of why that is done.
This may be more of a question for, Professor, I'll give you the opportunity to respond as well, but sounds like it's a question for the commission. At the beginning, I reviewed the S1163A legislation that created the commission, and I'll drop a link to that in the chat. But just as a reminder, this commission is looking at reparations in regards to enslavement in New York, as well as post-abolition structural discrimination affecting Black New Yorkers. Professor, I don't know if you have more that you wanted to add there.
Yeah, I was going to say it's not just my understanding of the mission of this organization, but when I talk about and teach about reparations to my students, it doesn't stop with enslavement, right? 1865 was not the end. There's all different kinds of enslavement, and the impacts and compounded impacts of enslavement and anti-Blackness and racism are still with us. And it's very important for us to understand that it continues, that colonialism, as well as our apartheid system, all these things actually continue to contribute to some kind of enslavement status, negative status and enslavement. And so it's very important for us to see the systemic, right, and the ways that the attitudes and the practices from enslavement continue. And we need to address all those things. We can't just narrowly address the enslavement. I agree that there were promises that should have been kept from that period, but there are increasing, right, impacts since then that we also have to be sensitive to. And I include Latinx people because most of them are also of African descent, and many.
Gibberish. Welcome, Brother Sage. Can you hear us, brother?
Black first, yeah, got me clear, loud and clear.
Yes, indeed, brother.
Peace,
Welcome
Brother
to Thorough
Sage.
Black Talk.
Peace to the family, peace to the family. Thank you so much for having me. I want to thank all of you guys again for standing with you. I love standing with you. I love standing beside you. Just happy to be a part of the family. Just happy to be, in this army, trying to get reparations for our people. From what I just heard, definitely was painful. I want to start off saying this. Reparations is not about racism. Reparations is not going to solve racism. Newsflash. White people have been racist before reparations, and after they give it out, they're still going to be racist. Reparations is not to solve that. Reparations is basically a debt owed that is owed to us for work rendered during slavery. It has nothing to do with the white man calling you the N-word. It has nothing to do with you not being able to drink from a water fountain. It has nothing to do with you being Hispanic. It has nothing to do with you being Asian. It simply is for work rendered that happened during slavery from sun up to sundown. Our ancestors had to work. We should be receiving payment for that. I believe we all here live in New York. The Brooklyn Bridge, the family that built the Brooklyn Bridge got their money strictly from slavery. J.P. Morgan, the House of Morgan owned slaves. They got their money from slavery. Look outside of your house. Look at the New York skyline. Most of those buildings were built with Carnegie Steel. Andrew Carnegie, that family, again, back in the day, they owned slaves. William Wells, Henry Fargo, or Wells Fargo, they owned slaves. So again, when we're talking about big industries, that came out of the backs of slaves. So again, we're just owed that compensation. And we're not here basically trying to say this person was mean to me. It has nothing to do with, oh, well, they suffered some type of discrimination. It has nothing to do with that. And I don't even know who this lady was that you was playing that was speaking on reparations. But from the looks of it, she wouldn't even probably qualify for it. I do not know what her lineage is, so I stand to be corrected. But again, from face value, she doesn't look like a person that would qualify for it. So again, reparations should stop at slavery. It should not continue on, because once we do that, you start to add in all of the others that, technically would not qualify. I don't care if you've been here for 5 generations, like the event that we were on the other time. Guess on one of her family side, they would not qualify. It does not matter if you came here. Again, you chose to come here. So again, I just wanted to clear the air on that. Again, shout out to, everyone that was there. I can't see everything because I'm on the phone right now, family. I do see my brother Devon. I do see Rook. I can't see all of you guys' names, but again, I just want to say thank you so much for standing there. I'm not going anywhere. I just want to give praise and love to the family while I'm here and while I have the mic. I'm not going anywhere though.
Love it. Brother Tad, Sister Marcia, and Brother Black is here as well.
Yes, Brother Taz, Sister Marcia, and Brother Black. Love all.
Peace, Brother Sage.
I want to play this clip of a testimony so y'all don't think we fooling around out here, but somebody who is of Nigerian origin, who's always there talking rubbish. But I'm going to play it so you guys can hear for yourselves. Hold on.
Again, I apologize. Please correct my pronunciation. Thank you.
Hello, can you see me?
We can see you and hear you.
Awesome. So my name is Moade Jagusa. I am a Nigerian American. My comment here is that I believe that all of the reparations discussions so far have been talking about things that have happened in the past. I believe that African Americans are owed reparations for ongoing harm that is still continuing today in New York State. I have a friend who is an African American in Syracuse, New York, and who has had 4 out of her 8 siblings murdered or died due to drugs and poison. And just to have that many of your siblings or your family to be murdered and to have the cops not investigate or continue to fail to investigate over and over again in this day of 2024 is just absolutely genocidal. And I do believe there's an ongoing genocide that is happening, at least an ongoing ethnic cleansing that is happening when it comes to the mass displacement of people from the south side of Syracuse, New York. And I also know that these conditions are similar to conditions that are happening in Buffalo, New York, and other parts of upstate New York, such as Albany and in New York City as well. And so I believe that you guys cannot ignore displacement that is ongoing, genocide that is ongoing, mass killings, mass death that is ongoing. And also the Onondaga County justice system has a 98% felony plea deal conviction rate. And so what that means is that only 2% of people who are actually accused of and then found guilty of felonies in Onondaga County are doing so through a trial. The vast majority of people are pleading guilty because they're threatened with these crazy threats in order to plead guilty to things that they
Again, just rubberish. Just rubberish. And that's why you have to be on point when these people come in the room.
I'm going to stick on that topic and the disenfranchisement that happened. We can equate the history of those free Black men and women who were kidnapped and stolen during enslavement between the periods of 1808 and 1865, whose families were made unwhole by property loss, by family loss. Yes, we are the descendants of those who were made unwhole. And we have to keep our comments, our testimony in that lane. I am not speaking to be disrespectful to anyone else throughout the diaspora. It is up to you to fight for your reparations on the lands and soils of which your people were enslaved. Here in the United States and in New York State specifically, we, the descendants of freedmen, are advocating for our rightful heirs, lineage, estate that is owed to us, that was guaranteed by the government. We fought here, we bled here, we died here. It is wrong to grandfather clause everyone else's history and misfortunes onto our claim. It is illegal and it is unjust and it will not pass. You know that, we know that, the commission knows that. You cannot do this. We want this bill dead as it is. Represent the bill that the U.S. Freedmen Project had presented and was read on the floor by Assemblywoman Nikki Lucas. That is it. Let us stop wasting time with a dead bill. Stop disrespecting our lineage. Direct us as who we are, descendants of freedmen. You cannot continue to say that people who were trafficked from across shores were the only ones who were hurt. We were already here. Henry Highland Garnett himself was the victim of an attempted kidnapping. Kidnapping clubs ran rapid. What about the people who were already here who did not identify as an African? Knock it off. That's all I'm saying.
With that, I yield to Brother Devon, and then we'll go to Brother Sage and followed by Sister Brooke. Your thoughts on what's been happening at these reparations commission hearings?
Is my mic okay? Because I know I was having some issues. Is it still bad?
You good now, brother? You good?
Oh, perfect. Oh, thank God. Yeah. So first and foremost, I just want to, just kind of just bringing the conversation full circle when I talked about being alone. And so it's just an honor, and I'm just privileged. I feel like it just fills my heart up with gratitude to see these events where you guys have just been there standing on Lineage, 10 toes down, you know, for the cause. Because before this commission was formed and we were fighting against the politicians in the assembly and in the Senate, that was largely some lonely work, right? Like we were the sole organization, sometimes the sole voice in the room, you know, screaming into the abyss to say, hey, this is unconstitutional. This is not gonna fly. This is a wasted attempt. This is a waste of time. And so, you know, it's everything you guys laid out is exactly correct. This bill was dead on arrival. I was just in DC yesterday with Sister Brooke and at another event, and we were talking about the way in which the Democrats try, quote unquote, and their attempts, their empty attempts at reparations to then blame the Republicans. So it looks like that they are on our side while the Republicans are not. And so as we were doing this advocacy work, one of the high-ranking Democrats at the time, when we were talking about bipartisanship and we're talking about our organization being nonpartisan, he told me that, yeah, you're going to have to deal with the Democrats because the Republicans in New York don't run anything but their mouth. And so as he is correct, as New York is currently constituted, even though we saw in this last election a big shift to the right based on what they did with the migrants and illegal aliens, since he is correct, that means the Democrats have to hold this L when it produces the L that it was designed to produce. See, if there was a fully defined community of eligibility, then everything that they're talking about, even that mulatto-looking lady, would be correct. If you were talking about what happened to our ancestors during and right after slavery, and what they said was the solution for us moving forward with, you know, Special Field Order 15, you'll be correct. If you then said, hey, you know what, we need to follow the freedmen and their progeny to find out what this country continued to do to them, aka the badges, vestiges, and incidents of slavery from 1865 to present day, you will be absolutely correct. That would be a great commission to have, to study what was done to our ancestors and actually built it, and then to the progeny since they prolonged and delayed our reparation and our justice claim. Let's show what else happened to this group of individuals due to the fact that they denied our initial justice claim and reneged on the promise. That would be an appropriate commission to have. But because neither party wants to see us have the remedial justice and reparations that our ancestors so justly and rightfully earned, they've done what they've done to where that mulatto-looking woman is able to correctly say, according to the legislation, hey, I added the Latinos because they are of, quote-unquote, African descent. You know who else you can add on to because they are of African descent? The white Boers of South Africa, like Elon Musk and Charlize Theron. The East Indians of Africa, like the Zohar Mamdani and his family, that Sister Brooke broke down so eloquently on her channel. The Asian Africans that are now taking up residence and having babies all across the continent, their progeny will be of African descent. And so that's how you seal the deal for a reparations claim that is dead on arrival, because then what you would have to argue when an Asian of African descent, or a Dutch or Boer of African descent, or an East African of African descent, and someone said Musty Myron, yeah, Amaru Fudul and all the other Arabs
that are of African descent with his Asian ass, you would have to say, hey, you don't get it. Why? Because though you're of African descent, you're not racially black. That's the ball game right there. Because according to how it's written, only two scenarios come out of this bill. One, it's a universal program for everybody of African descent, which is non-black people. Or you try to make it so that you disclude or you exclude those people that are of African descent that are not black, and that's when you run into race. So you either get an unconstitutional bill that produces nothing, or a bill that produces a universal program, which is nothing. And then our ancestors still get the nothing that we are fighting against. And that is what this commission, that is what this bill, that is what all of the New York legislators already know, because the U.S. Freedmen Project was invited to teach and educate on a workshop during the Black, Puerto Rican, Hispanic, and Asian Caucus weekend on how to get reparations correct. And kind of just to close the circle again and bring back the meeting that we went to, that meeting, that workshop was supposed to be a meeting of the minds with the U.S. Freedmen Project and all the Pan-African organizations that were written into the bill that was saying, no, reparations can be and should be done this way that the bill is saying. But when the Pan-Africans and their politicians that are in their pockets, like the Assemblywoman Salages, when they found out who we were bringing, and we were just bringing the U.S. Freedmen Project. We didn't even tap into any other scholars that we could have had at our disposal. It was just us and Member Lucas. When they found out, they backed out of that workshop, didn't want to do the open debate and meeting of the minds, but Salages went a step further and tried to get the entire workshop canceled, because she didn't want the people to hear how to get reparations right. But because what we're doing has already been blessed by the ancestors that came before us, she got, she still was able to deny her presence at the workshop, but that just meant we got the full time of the workshop to fully educate the people. It was standing room only. We got a standing ovation at the end. This is a political speech kind of forum. And not only that, we were able to go over time because of the room and the time that we had. And people stayed long after to continue to ask questions, have dialogue, network. It was a wild success. But even though we had all that success and educated the legislative body and the public, they still went ahead with this unconstitutional bill. And the governor, Kathy Hope, who still signed this unconstitutional bill, even though we had meetings with her staff, particularly her legislative and judicial directors, that acknowledged that there were problems with the bill, it was still signed into law. So I'm saying all that to say, not to impress you, but to impress upon you that the powers that be understand that this bill is unconstitutional and already dead on arrival. So then we have to ask ourselves, why are they still playing this game in our face? And that leads us to where we're at now, to where we are letting them know, you're playing in our face. We're not going to allow you to play on our top. And our opposition to this and our scholarship and us letting the world know that we know that you know is on the record. So when they try to pull a whammy bammy, when they try to put the banana in the tailpipe, they can't, because we already beat them to the punch.
Mic drop. Mic drop. But I want Brother Sage to let us know what's his perspective first on the meeting that was held Friday in conjunction with these reparations hearing. Brother Sage, is on you.
Okay, so with the meeting on Friday, honestly, what I feel like specifically what's going on with the reparations movement right now is a lot of people for 50, 60, 70 some odd years been jumping on our backs and getting basically like getting goodies off of our hard work and our labor. And unfortunately, we're pulling the rug out from underneath them. So all of this divisive talk, that's where it truly comes from. People truly feel like they're entitled to get what we get. And that's just not the way it's going to go from now on. You're going to have to bring some type of food to this table and if you want to eat. And that's the type of movement that we're on. We're not the children of the 60s and the 70s. We're not them anymore. And much respect to the people that's born in that time. But what I'm saying is you're the exception. You're not the rule. So again, we're not looking out for everyone else. We're looking out for ourselves. As far as the other day, and that situation we were at, that was more of like a kumbaya. Let's bring everybody together. Let's create some type of dialogue. But once we arrived in there, as you know, sis, it was more of like a hit piece. You know what I mean? And shout out to my brother Tad for bringing up the whole definition of what is your definition of delineation? Because that kept them stuck. And they thought, like some people thought it was, well, you hate Africa. Other people thought it was other things, but no. Like my brother said, what is the definition, specifically the definition of it? And once he hit them with that, that had them stuck. And that's something that I don't think that they've been able to digest as of yet. But again, reparations are needed. I just feel like, and Sage is one of those people, me, one of those people that feel like everyone should receive reparations, just not from the American government. If you are Jamaican, you have to go to Britain. If you are French, whatever, excuse me, not French, Haitian, you have to go to France. You have to go to these other countries to receive your money because you were not enslaved by this government. Shout out to the U.S. Freedmen Project for bringing it up to our attention that it cannot be race based. It would have to be lineage based. So there's no point in creating a bill that's going to fail as soon as you guys pass it. There's no point in that. So we need to have this bill written correctly so that it can actually appreciate what's value. As far as that whole what I like to call an in-person space that we attended last week, it was basically an FBA hit piece. They got us there and to basically speak negative about us and try to create this type of picture that people truly didn't have going into that event. But had we not been there to speak what was real, they would have basically told everyone in that room that being FBA is on the fringe, being FBA is bad, being FBA is something that you should never acknowledge. And again, we're just here to create pride within our lineage. It's not to denigrate anyone else's lineage. It's not to do any of that. But like I said, we have to have pride as well. We exist too. When me and my brother Devon and Tad walked outside after that event, I remember we looked across the street and it was nothing but Caribbean and even the Puerto Rican flags. You know what I mean? And that's something that, where was the American flag? Where was our representation there? These people are not trying to be on code with us. They're not trying to get on the same on par with us. They just not. So why front like you are? Just keep it real. I can respect that more. Keep it real. Always say like the guy that walks outside screaming the N-word, though I don't agree with that, I respect him because he's honest. It's the more refined racism that I hate. I hate the racism that you can't just pick out of the blue. I'd rather you tell me straight up you don't like N-words rather than you invite me in your house. Now I'm inside your house, but you got a big ass Confederate flag there. I don't like that. Just tell me what it is up front. And when you're dealing with these Caribbeans, specifically from New York, they tell you what, well, they may not say it, they may front in their words, but their actions always speak loud. So, like my brother said, we did go into hostile territory and we did tell them what it was on their own home base, on their home court. But when it comes to these reparation hearings, like I said, I don't know why they are even invited. Because all they're going to try to do is use their melanin to explain why we should not receive something that's owed to us. And when that was brought up in the meeting, no one had a rebuttal to that. Because, like we said, they'll say, oh, well, I believe you guys should get reparations, but where in the hell are you when we're having these meetings? Because all of you guys feel in this meeting here, feel like we should get reparations, but when these reparations meeting come out, it just seems like all of your coons come out and you don't. So it goes back to what my brother, Tariq Nasheed always says. When we're out there protesting against white supremacy and we have all these white people out here screaming Black Lives Matter, there's hundreds, thousands of these white people out here, but we can't get 12 of you in the courtroom. Something don't add up here. And with that, I'm going to land.
Woo! I can't say nothing else. But, Sister Brooke had mentioned this article, and as she prepared herself, go ahead, Sister Brooke, but I brought up the article that you were referencing earlier, which is in conjunction of what we taught, I think, 2 weeks ago, maybe, on the history of those who sold us. But someone by the name of Rai Rillo, I think I'm pronouncing that wrong. If I'm not, please excuse me, asks, what have Black Americans done to repair themselves? Everything. That's why you're here. Everything. As Marcus Garvey said, and I quote, we are the only group with a race consciousness. The rest of you are still trying to figure that out. That's why there are so many tribal wars where you come from, whether it's the Caribbean or the continent. Continual tribal beefs. We understand that. We letting y'all figure that out, even though you've had your independence for however many years, and you're still leaning on the colonizer to help you because you haven't raised a gallant fight against the colonizer yet. Your military is weak. Meanwhile, here on these shores, we have put the fear of God in them, whether it's the Deacons for Self-Defense, whether it's the Black Panther Party, whatever. We have always been a thorn in the side of white aggression. You, on the other hand, have not. And that's why you try to stand on the shoulders of other folks, whether it be Garvey. Even he came here to the United States because he wanted to study under Booker T. Washington. And he asked the diaspora, he asked, and I quote, where is your Fred Douglass? Where is your Booker T. Washington? He said, you have yet to produce them. And now on September 25th, 2025, you still haven't produced them. When it comes to inventions, you're using lights, you're using the internet, GPS, whatever. We invented it. You have yet to match that. And so when you ask, what have we done for ourselves? We are that. That's why we're the number one dominant culture on the planet. Everyone copies us. You can't say the same for yourself. Go ahead, Sister Brooke.
Okay, so before we even get to this article, there's a couple of things I wanted to just bring up, right? One was the fact that one of the people on the panel was half FBA. He said he was Gullah Geechee, and the other half of him was Kenyan. And they kept cutting us off and not allowing, especially me, because I was cutting people off. I'm gonna be honest. You know what I'm saying? I'll be 100% honest. I cut a lot of people off. So when it came my turn, I got a lot of it back. So I barely was able to say some things. But one of the things that I wanted to say, and I hope they're listening, is to the brother whose mother was from Kenya. How can you call us divisive when Kenya is in Haiti right now minding a business? Right now, Kenya's army is in Haiti minding their business. Now, let me tell you something. I don't know what's going on in Haiti because most of the time when people who I trust are talking about it in Creole. So I assume they don't want us to know what the hell is happening because they ain't talking about it in English. And you know what? That's fine. It really ain't none of my business. But I support what I do. What I do support is minding my business and letting them work it out over there because it don't have nothing to do with me and it don't have nothing to do with nobody else. So I don't understand why somebody with Kenya, with a mother from Kenya, where your whole black country is over there minding another black country's business on the being sent by the colonizer. That's the who told you to go over there. You didn't have the right over there to go over there. They told you to go over there. But you want to sit up in here in this country and look down your nose at me and call me divisive? Ask your mama about her people. Then come talk to me. Then I also wanted to talk about the fact that every single Caribbean nation right now is kicking out Haitians. Right now. Ain't none of them letting them in. Everybody want them out. Everybody everywhere wants them out. So don't sit here, and we're not doing that. So you don't sit here and call me divisive. And then I'm going to hit the last Caribbean nation that I'm going to talk about, Puerto Rico. Y'all sit here and talk about, what we did and what you did in hip hop. Let me ask you a question. Why are you begging to be colonized? Why are you not fighting for your freedom? It's just a question. I'm confused. Y'all walk around bragging about your American passports. Why aren't you happy to be free? You sitting there begging Trump, colonize me, please don't let me go, massa. And you want to come in my face and tell me anything? Oh, no. Yeah. And like I said, I came nice. I really did, because I really do. I knew people there, and people that I'm sure knew me as well. And so, I really did. I'm like, look, if y'all say, because they kept, the sentiment started changing. At first they was attacking us. Then all of a sudden we're not against reparations. None of us here are against reparations, but that's not what they were saying in the beginning. Okay, they was telling us that we was Africans and we didn't really deserve nothing. But anyway, I just was like, okay, we're gonna sweep that under the rug for right now, just so I could address my point, because they kept cutting me off, right? So I'm like, here's the thing, right? The host was Haitian. I'm like, during the Haitian Revolution, the first thing y'all did was kill the black collaborators first, to make sure that they didn't go snitch and join with the white man, with the colonizer, with the French. I said, we haven't killed anybody. We are only separating ourselves from you, because there are many of you that are now have infiltrated our politics, our systems, and sitting in positions of power. They tried to bring up, Morgan Freeman is against reparations. Morgan Freeman's not a politician. Morgan Freeman can't do nothing but talk slow. Okay? He can't affect my reparations. But you know what? That Jamaican governor in Boston, he did affect reparations. He did. He vetoed. So this is the issue that we're having. And all words, I haven't cut nobody's head off or burned nobody's house down yet. And that's I don't know how to say it. Sister Marcia, I'm sure she got me on that. I don't know how to say it, and I don't want to disrespect, but I do know what the translation into English is. So, but yeah, so we haven't done that. And that's something I really respect out of the Haitian Revolution. And then it's like it couldn't be caught. It just they couldn't catch it. Okay, so back to this article.
But you go on in the article, but to this person, the problem is the diaspora. Again, some of our greatest scholars, as a matter of fact, Milana Karanga was on Dr. Maat's show the other day. He said that we over here have held the brunt of Pan-Africanism, not y'all. And you still don't. We're the ones that divisive? I think not. I think not. Brother Isaiah put it up there for you, Sister Brooke.
Thank you so much.
You know,
yeah,
but
I don't know
you
how to
put
say
it up
that.
there. But go ahead, sis. Go ahead.
Yeah, so this article, man, oh man. This article is it's written by this Nigerian writer, and she basically just goes into her lineage and their participation in the slave trade. Slave traders are now all over the world. They're in the, like her and her cousins and stuff. They're in the UK, they're in the USA, they're in Canada. You understand what I'm saying? That these are the descendants of slave traders. They also, what is very interesting that I never hear anybody ever talk about is the Ohu and the Osu, which are the slave population. So when, the British ended slavery, they
Sister Brooke froze up.
I'm about to say we lost her, right?
Let's let her. Oh, there it goes.
There
Go
she
ahead.
goes.
Go ahead.
No, we lost you for a minute, Sister Brooke. You got
okay.
Yeah, go
Sorry.
back.
Oh, yes. Okay. So she goes into the Ohu and the Osu, who were the descendants of so when the British ended slavery, they still had slaves. So those slaves ended up, still staying in Nigeria, living under this caste system where they were the untouchables. So I've never heard anyone anywhere, I've never, ever heard anybody anywhere ever talk about that group of people except for this article. So I recommend that you definitely take a look at this. It's a real quick, it's a long article, but it's a fast read because you won't be able to put it down. It is riveting.
Sister,
just so you know, I put it in the chat.
Thank
so
you.
Everybody can read it at their own leisure or whenever you feel like it. But and we also broke down the history of those who enslaved us here on Thorough Black Talk.
That's right. And the fact that they want us to join, and they refuse to admit this. They refuse to admit. They all know the truth. That same guy who was from Unjuru, I don't know. I can't say this stuff. Uhuru, whatever.
Led by Omali.
He talked about how he been to Africa. Y'all, so then you knew. And that's something else I didn't get a chance to address. Y'all sit here and y'all want to talk about divisive. Do you understand how hurt I was to learn how deep y'all was and how intricately involved y'all was in selling us? When I had my African things on the wall, I was making Africa earrings. The same America, I had to switch my whole business model.
Talk about the carry shells, sis. Talk about the carry shells. Go ahead.
I had a beautiful carry shell necklace that just dropped down. You know what I mean? I don't want to talk about it. It dropped down when I'm dropping it, and on the end was that carry shell with gold around it. Like I was invested. I had a beautiful carry shell ring.
Use African fly.
Yo, African fly, Nubian princess.
Bobby Ghani out this page.
Facts. Sister Brooke throws up again. But she's right. They were selling us for that. 40 enslaved persons for an umbrella. But y'all like to sweep this under the rug. You
Selling
like
us for
to be
cowrie shell.
selective. You know, Dr. Chancellor Williams said it. You have to atone for what you've done.
Yes.
He said, get your tribes in order. And Sister Veronica, don't throw out selective history to me. Because I still want to know why you approached Brooke on Sunday about Tariq Nasheed. Because I don't play those kind of games. Don't get selective over here.
What? I'm lost. What happened with Sister Veronica, Sister Brooke, and Tariq Nasheed?
At the parade,
What is this thing with Tariq?
I don't know. It's an obsession.
That's what I said. I said, is
You
he
get
here?
right past Dr. Claude Anderson. It's an obsession.
Even that, did you notice? Even that night when I brought him up, they were like, "Oh," I said, oh, all of a sudden we not listening to scholars.
But hold on. But everybody's on that Hidden Color bandwagon.
That's what I'm saying.
1804. Everybody's on that.
I looked at Sister Keisha. I said, "Oh, all of a sudden, we not listening to the scholars. They was running all the scholars down. Dr. Ben, but when I brought up Dr. Claude Anderson, it was like, oh, I don't want to hear about that. I said, oh,
look at Brother
because
Siraj.
it don't fit the cultist narrative.
Exactly.
At Brother
It is a
Siraj
cultic
event, right, Sister
identity,
Keisha?
and they don't want to admit that. Go ahead, Brother Tad. Sorry.
Somebody tried to tell me, because I let it be known I'm FBA. It's like, they say, yeah, none of our elders subscribe to. I said, yo, Kaba Kamene do. He said, no, he doesn't. I said, yo, I just did an interview with him. Like, go to my channel. He said FBA is the blueprint. What you talking? But see, it doesn't. To your point,
even in the Great and Mighty Walk, Dr. John Henry Clark starts out in the Great and Mighty Walk talking about his Southern roots.
Yeah. But it again, like the elder, when I said, who knows what delineate means, he automatically told a bold-faced lie in front of all these witnesses. You're gonna say a lie and say it means to get away from Africa. So, see, elder, now you're not being honest. And that's what I realized with so many people. Like, we can't have an honest conversation. And that's why even before I spoke early, I said, look, we gonna have let's just be honest. Let's not presume anybody know anything, what they do or don't know. But again, these are the assumptions because it goes into the rhetoric of it all. And people don't realize, like, people say Harriet Tubman said, I freed 1,000 slaves and I freed 1,000 more. Can't nobody cite one source where she said that. But people will regurgitate that. And all I say is, well, where she said that at? Such and such said it, such and such said it. People used to show images of Laura Nelson and say it was Mary Turner, and it's not true. Laura Nelson and Mary Turner's two different people. Both of them were deleted under horrific circumstances. But if we're going to tell a story, let's tell it right. And let's be open for correction. That's the only way we're going to move forward. But as long as people are going to be dishonest, keep spewing rhetoric, we're not going to get nowhere. Because people have, to your point, sis, people have selective memory. They only want to acknowledge what fits their narrative, and we all recognize that as cognitive dissonance. We present you with evidence, and you still want to reject it. We got to stop that. We got to stop that and be open for more information. But go ahead.
Absolutely. We're going to play this clip, and we're going to get ready to close out. And, you know, we'll continue the conversation next week. But I like this clip because it throws shots in history at the same time. So let's listen to Dr. Jasmine Joy. Hold on.
Without foundational Black Americans, America has nothing. No future, no culture, no soul. Strip us out of the story and watch this whole nation collapse in real time. The truth is simple. They live off of us while lying to our faces. They steal our inventions, erase our names, eat our food, copy our slang, dance to our beats, and then dare to act like we're disposable. Without us, they stall. Without us, they starve. Without us, they stop moving. We gave you the personal computer. Mark Dean, a foundational Black American, co-created the IBM PC, holding 3 of the 9 original patents. Without him, there is no laptop, no smartphone, no internet. Every email, every TikTok, every algorithm, his genius built the world you live in. And yet they hand the credit to everyone but us. We gave you video games. Jerry Lawson invented the cartridge system. That invention became the backbone of a $200 billion industry. Every console you plug in, every game you load, traces back to him. But they crowned others kings of innovation while leaving his name in the shadows. We gave you GPS. Dr. Gladys West, a Black woman, mapped the Earth itself so satellites could guide you. Every Uber ride, every plane, every ship, every map app, without her, the world is lost. Yet how many schools teach her name? We gave you Mars rovers. Dr. Ayanna Howard, an FBA roboticist, coded the brains that let those machines move. Without her, they sit dead on red dirt. With her, the stars open. We gave you the space race itself. Katherine Johnson's calculations launched Apollo to the moon. Mae Jemison took us into orbit. Victor Glover lived months aboard the ISS. Isha Bowe is about to fly with Blue Origin. They love to say they conquered space, but who actually put the numbers on the board? It was us and our children. They are already building the next world. Elena Annalee Wicker, accepted into medical school at 13, NASA intern and founder of Brown STEM Girl. Taylor Richardson, astronaut Starbright, raising millions to fund science opportunities for girls. Across the country, FBA youth are coding AI, inventing medical devices, filing patents. They are the living proof that the God particle never stopped moving forward. It just got younger, sharper, and more fearless. Why us? Because we are convergence. We are the only people forged through every storm. African, Indigenous, European, Pacific, threads woven together into one people. Unlike bottleneck populations, we are the widest blueprint on Earth. That means adaptability. That means survival in changing climates and shifting societies in space itself. When the world bends, we don't break, we bend it back. And at the core of all of this is melanin, the God particle. Eumelanin, the armor shielding DNA from radiation, vital for space and a warming planet. Neuromelanin, the spark in the brain linking rhythm, creativity, and memory to dopamine itself. It's not just pigment, it's a superconductor, a living archive, a biological technology no lab can synthesize. It's why our rhythm moves the earth. It's why our memory survives erasure. It's why every beat, every dish, every invention keeps birthing revolutions, whether they want it to or not. And still, they steal, they rename, they rebrand. They hand Elvis the crown for rock and roll while burying Little Richard and Chuck Berry. They call soul food Southern cuisine while stripping it of our struggle. They turn hip hop into pop and sell it back to us watered down. They whitewash history while living off of our frequency. So here's the question. If we gave them the computers, the games, the maps, the rockets, the music, the food, the slang, the swagger, what did they actually create without us? What is America without FBA? Nothing but a parasite feeding on its host. And the truth is, they know it. That's why they fight so hard to erase our names. That's why they build walls around opportunity. That's why they sterilized us, jailed us, flooded our neighborhoods with drugs, and still try to bury our brilliance. Because if the world knew the full truth, that their entire reality is built on our genius, the revolution would already be here. So let me say it plain. We don't just create culture. We are the culture. We don't just build tools. We are the architects of survival. We don't just adapt. We are the blueprint for the future. And that future isn't just 3D. It's 5D, 7D, infinite. Because melanin doesn't just protect the body, it encodes memory across dimensions. Our rhythm isn't just sound, it's vibration that reshapes reality. Our culture isn't just influence, it's the frequency of creation itself. So here it is. The sun is rising. The God particle is awake. And if the world lives off our genius, our inventions, our rhythm, our blueprint, then the future is not theirs, it's ours. The question isn't whether we're ready. The question is, how long are we going to keep letting them eat off us without paying the price of admission to the world we already built? Because the revolution isn't coming. The revolution is already here.
Enough said.
Hallelujah, holla back.
Enough said. So when people ask, what have we done for ourselves? Allowed you to be. With that, we've come to the end of our program. Brother Sage, your final thoughts and commentary.
Keep the fight alive, family. I will be right beside you, just like I told the brother at that whole thing. I will be there to fight right alongside you. I will be there to take the hits with you. It's not a problem. That's just what family does. And again, we have to stand 10 toes on that. We have to be the beneficiaries of this whole reparations that's going to be given, because family, it's only going to happen once. The government is not going to give out several forms of reparations. They're going to give out one form. And it's up to us to make sure that it's correct. And it's up to us to make sure that we are the ones that specifically benefit for our ancestors' turmoil and for our ancestors. What's the word I'm looking for? Basically, like their hardship. That's what we have to make sure. No one can receive benefits from that. And with that, I'm laughing.
All right.
Thank you again.
Thank you, brother, for coming on and rocking out with us. And please, I think brother Sage is on SoundCloud. He is an artist and a phenomenal one at that. Please follow him on all social media platforms, and so that you can be abreast of what it is that he is doing. My sister Brooke said he needs to run for political office because he definitely on point with it. So again, brother Sage, thank you for joining.
Brother Sage, can you put that link? Can you put that link in the so Sister Keisha could run one of them liner notes so we can see the exact link and go straight to you, please?
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Brother Devon, your final thoughts and commentary, sir.
Yeah, I mean, this just was as powerful as I thought it was going to be. At no point do I ever want to be responsible for burning the bridge down. That is your job. But what I did want to come up on here to do is burn that symbolic bridge down. No more are we doing empty symbolism. That's dead. You know, just to kind of jump on what Sister Brooke said with that article, it's funny when I first came across that article, and this is why I say we were Pan-Africans until we started meeting actual Africans. This is the type of information that our icons of the past did not have. So it made sense to say, hey, we're all just the same. They're reinforcements. Let's just work together. We are now getting new information that they did not have access to. And like I said, when I first came across that article, I think it's from 2018, around that time, I was living next door to a Nigerian man that worked for the MTA. And when I first came across the article, I was like, you know what? Like, just me being who I am and being born, I'm like, you know what? I'm going to ask him, is he a descendant of slave traders? Like, I want to know. Like, he's Nigerian. We talk. I'm cool with his son. I need to know. And I asked him after reading that article, hey, you know, I just saw this article. Your family descendants of those Nigerians that sold slaves. And looked like when I said that, his face looked like he saw a ghost. And he asked me, he said, hey, how do you know about that? And I said, oh, I just read this article, you know, but I thought, you know, I didn't think there were actual slave traders. We were taught that we were stolen in the heat of the night, right? And to his credit, he actually came out and said, yes, my family are some of the Nigerians that sold slaves. He then, you know, subsequently, maybe about a couple of months after that, not because of the conversation, but, you know, he was already talking about he was going to take the money he earned, you know, working for the city and MTA, and he was going to move his family to Jersey. And he eventually did. So he now lives in Jersey somewhere. But the point I'm making is that we have to stand against this because, like I always say, they sold some of my ancestors once, but they do not get to sell me twice. And so I am not subscribing or signing up for this empty symbolism where Pan-Africanism or Pan-African unity gets boiled down and reduced to transactions where they are still making money off of my genius, off of my intellectual property, and off me as property. That's not going to happen for me and my family never again, by them or by anybody else. And so, you know, all the things that I learned about, like all that, I think I was telling Sister Brooke, and this is how kind of what brought me to this enlightenment enlightening that I'm having now. All of the stereotypes, all the negative stereotypes anyway, that I learned about Caribbeans came from other Caribbeans. About other Caribbeans. When I was growing up, I thought everybody that had an accent was Jamaican. All Caribbeans just came from Jamaica to me. I could not tell the difference until that comedian, I think his name is Maja Hype or something like that. I forgot what his name is. When he started doing all the accents, that's when I started finding out there was actual different ones that they could hear with their trained ear that I couldn't hear and understand. Now, obviously, as I'm older and been around them longer, I can hear some of them. But in the beginning, I did not know. But every single stereotype that I learned about Caribbeans came from other Caribbeans. And so I'm saying that to say this in closing. They already knew there was no universal identity that they all subscribed to and that they all adhered to. And we were just the late ones coming on board. No, they all had already delineated from us before they got here. And we were late to the delineation party. That's all. So to Ra Rilla or whatever that name was, when he said, yeah, if the white man died or disappeared tomorrow, this division will be all we have left, you are absolutely correct. Because before the white man ever touched down on the continent of Africa, that division was already there and being practiced. That's what was there in the beginning. So you are correct. And the last thing I'll say to Sister Veronica, because I saw one of her comments, and I wanted to bring this up. She invoked the name Kwame Ture. You know, they always got this handful of names that they try to invoke and bring up out this fake unity. Stokely Carmichael grew up in Van Ness, which was a largely white immigrant portion of the Bronx at the time. And Stokely Carmichael was the only black member of an all-white gang in the Van Ness section of the Bronx. He then opposed and was in friction and conflict with Dr. King when he started to adopt the quote-unquote Black Power tagline and movement. And even though Dr. King was telling him to kind of chill and bring the temperature down, when they got hot and crazy and our icons got assassinated, that's when he fled to Africa and became Kwame Ture and was doing that work over there because he found out that he was going to be a target. But I'm bringing him up to say he was allowed into areas and communities and neighborhoods that we as Black Americans were not. So this idea that we have all been treated the same because of melanin and not based on ethnic group is also one of the biggest lies Pan-Africanism has told us. And they have been pushing that lie ever since. And in fact, you know, that was one of the comments that also shut down that meeting, because when I told them that Shirley Chisholm was able to live in communities that we couldn't live in, they tried to say I was lying until Sister Brooks said, no, she wrote that in her own book. And another thing that she did, and I promise I'm landing here because there's so much to say, another difference between us, and this is kind of the same thing that had Marcus Garvey moving and talking sideways, is Shirley Chisholm went to the bedside of George Wallace when he was in the hospital to show him love and support. And so there has always been this affinity for white supremacy and white supremacists that they have had as foreigners and not living under the hell that those white supremacists put our families in. So they were able to see and practice a level of humanity with them that they still practice today that we do not give them, because we remember and never forget what they did to our families. And I'll land there.
Woo! Woo! Man, you can't get no better than that. You can't get no better than that. But, you know, to follow Brother Devon and the U.S. Freedmen's Project, I put the link in the chat. Please follow them, as well as Brother Sage. The link is in the chat. Also, melaninstitute.blogspot.com for Brother Black is in the chat as well. Brother Black, your final thoughts and commentary, please.
Thank y'all for a beautiful presentation. It has occurred to me that a lot of y'all out there who never lived in New York probably don't know. And I don't know, so, you know, I'm not there now. But I want to ask, is there more non-FBA in Brooklyn now than there were maybe since the 80s or something like that? Because the reason why I ask is because there's a tendency for, if you, let me give you all an example. I used to be a merchant seaman. And when you're around Filipinos, if it's 2 or 3 of them, they're super cool. If you're around 7 or 8, they stick to themselves. If you're around 15 or 16, they are gangster, like, F out of here. We don't mess with y'all. So it depends on where you at. And I believe because of the dynamics of New York and primarily Brooklyn having so much Caribbean influence, especially, and now Africans as well, maybe in the last 20 years, a lot of people take it for granted that most of Africa, America, whether it be in New York or LA or Seattle or the four corners of the country, is like where they come from. So they think they can be gangster and basically take over the block because they the majority. I even know Americans from Crown Heights, Flatbush, various neighborhoods, when it was primarily a lot of Jamaicans, and a lot of them you can't tell because they can speak patois just like a Jamaican because they grew up around them, but they're African Americans. And they told me, nah, my parents is from South Carolina and Louisiana. I don't know nothing about no Caribbean, but me talk like this, you know. So it is what it is. I just wanted to put that down for purposes of this show. I'm going to be real quick. I got melaninblogspot.blogspot.com. Sister Keisha already let y'all know. I got my book, Boom Bye Bye, Hip Hop Will Never Die. And as well, I Ain't Perfect, but Take It From Me. There was a movie some years ago, 1998, where a character in the movie named Charles Kirkland was murdered on September 10th in the movie, 1990. I don't remember the name of the movie.
Wow.
But if you look it up, that's all over the place right now. It has been said that his wife won a beauty pageant some years ago. She moved to Romania, and when she moved to Romania, so many kids got missing that they extricated her out the country because they were suspecting she was a part of it. So with that said, I'm going to get up out of here. I'm going to let y'all do your thing. It's been a great overtime on the bridge, and we're going to do it again next week. Hopefully y'all can come back. This is Thorough Black Talk. Who gets it next? Sister Mama, you there? Marcia, you there?
Black is going to get hurt. Peace, everyone. My camera is dying. I don't know what's happening. I want to say thank you to Brother Divine, Sister Brooke, and Brother Sage. You all are phenomenal. Very, very, very good. Thanks for the highlights, the lowlights, and everything in between. I want to say one thing. You said when you went into the meeting, the people were like, oh, we from here, we from there, yada, yada, there. One of the comebacks should have been, well, like, you're here right now, and you're supposed to fight with the people on this land, not worrying about whatever's happening on your home turf. Because if you cared about your home turf right there, you wouldn't be right here right now. So let's get those things in correct perspective. Understood? And I'm so mad that y'all can't see my face right now. But needless to say, as someone whose family came in, one of the things that I always do is respect the land that I am on. And it's so funny. I was, roaming around the streets in another section of New York. And I was like, oh, let's see where the museum is. Oh, there's a historical society. Let's go here. And the lady was like, oh, we don't have many of you around here anymore. And I was like, oh, tell me about those that look like me that were here. So I just got a wealth of information, and there are not many people of that come in that want to learn about their lands. They want their new land. They just want to put their head down, do the work, and then say, I'm going to build a house back there, and then can never live there, over there, because their country is in such turmoil that they'll never go back there. needless to say, that's all I have to say for this great conversation. I look forward to doing it again with you all. And what's more important than being on the bridge on Thursday night? So let's see each other again. Make time flourish, because you got to fight with that son of a mother, or may it flourish. May you have your soft life. Have a good one. See y'all next week. Brother Tad.
And if you want to learn how to grow your own food, right where you at, reach out to Sister Marcia. She's for hire. Go ahead, Brother Tad.
All right. Brother Sage, Brother Divine, Sister Brooke, I thank y'all so much. Hopefully y'all can make it back next week. My brother Blacksmith, you already know, Sister Marcia, Sister Keisha, hopefully we can have these videos chopped up, uploaded, downloaded, cross-loaded, all kinds of loaded, so we can give the people some context of what we had to deal with next Friday. So family, y'all please come back. I want to give a shout out to all the new people who's never been on the bridge with us before. Thank you for coming through. Shout out to the trolls for proving our point. Every time you pop up with your ignorant comments, it only validates us. It doesn't discredit us. So we thank you very much. To our usual suspects, Sister Farnessa, Sister Aruba, Brother Rich Nice, and everybody else. Too many names to name. Definitely appreciate y'all for all the support. This Sunday, I will not be doing the OG Wisdom podcast. I will be in North Carolina, paying my respects to one of the elders in the family who transitioned. But you can go on YouTube and look at old episodes of the OG Wisdom podcast, particularly the one with Kaba Kamene, labeled FBA is the Blueprint. So family, hopefully you were inspired by something you heard here tonight. It's your turn to go out and inspire others. So y'all stay up, stay blessed, stay true. And remember, no matter how hard things may seem right now, there's always better days ahead. Sister Keisha.
Our condolences to you and the family of Brother Tad.
Thank you.
We're going to be riding there with you in spirit. But for those who joined us tonight for the first time, as Tad said, thank you for coming on and rocking out with us. For all of our usual suspects, we definitely appreciate all of you, and particularly your commentary, whether it was in agreement with what we said or in disagreement with what we said. If you are interested in coming up on the Brooklyn Bridge, shoot us a message on Instagram or our TikTok pages, and we'll try to make it happen to get you here up on the Brooklyn Bridge, so we can destroy you here as well. And hopefully Sister Brooke and Brother Divine will be back again with us next week for part 2, because, as Tad said, it's going to take a minute for him to get those videos and stuff queued up. So we're going to give our brother enough time to do that so we can smack him there. I'm not answering no question. Anybody who is not 100% on code with us, don't throw slick commentary. Don't run up to my peoples and ask them stupid ass questions when you ain't got that energy for me, especially when you see me, because I'm not one to have that. And I'll meet you anytime, anywhere, on any platform, because I'm going to give you this real work. As I said to the young man who was at the forum on Friday, make your move. Make your move, because I'm fighting for mine. I didn't flee anywhere. Both sides of my family are pleased with my work. Can you say the same? Are you fighting on your homeland? Even here, when I was in college, in my college days, the Black student unions put pressure on businesses in this country to divest from South Africa. I don't see none of you from the diaspora putting pressure on any business entity in this country demanding FBA get their reparations. You're a fraud and you're a faker, and I see you for what you is. You're also a clout chaser. You running around with clothes looking like you came from the 1800s, regurgitating old rhetoric, wraps around your head and around your waist when you ain't even from there. And they tell you you ain't from there, but you still grabbing hold because you have no lineage to stand on your own. All of us on this platform, we could stand on our own. Can you do the same? And so with that, I bid you all a great good night. I wish you nothing but the best. Stand firm on your square. Remember, the next reparations hearing is October 28th, right here in Brooklyn. It's pull-up season. We're pulling up to Bethany Baptist Church, and we're not playing with them. No way, no how, not now, not ever. Good night, y'all. We are out.
On the Brooklyn Bridge tonight, voices strong, knowledge tight. Thorough black talk in the air, changing minds, changing flair. From brother Tad to sister K, warriors got things to say. Sister Marcy brings the heat, brother Blacksmith keeps the beat. Revolutionary waves, they fly underneath the open sky. Every word's a call to fight. Tune in, feel the ancestral light. Thursday nights the world will see Black Power media on a spree. Facebook, YouTube all aligned, breaking free from every bind. Social talk and politics, every voice breaks through the matrix. Commentary raw and true, for the many, not the few. Revolutionary waves, they fly underneath the open sky. Every word's a call to fight. Tune in, feel the ancestral light. Social talk and politics, every voice breaks through the matrix. Commentary raw and true, for the many, not the few. Revolutionary waves,